What's up? How's it going? Emil, no audio issues, DeRosa. We love that dark unicorn blood. I mean, who knows? Maybe there are. And maybe the audio issues were the friends we made along the way. Whoa, new starting screen. Yeah, I figured out how to do it. All right. We're live. We're back. We're back for another Wednesday live. I don't know the best time to do these, but we're figuring it out. Kelly says she wants Kev. He heard me. He didn't get the ball today, so he's a little. He could be a bad boy today. We love a bad boy. We've already got someone apologizing. I love you, sorry. Well, I love you, sorry. I don't know what that's about. Did I watch Zverev Djokovic? Of course I watched. That one's tough for me. Glad to see Zverev out, but I really don't want Djokovic to beat Sinner. We'll see what happens. Oh my God, the New York City mayoral debate is on in 25 minutes. I actually did not know that. Is that something that I'm going to get screwed for with copyright? There's no way you're allowed to play it, right? How do you even watch it online? Wow, that's very nice. Denver show was so good. Haven't stopped smiling since Sunday. Yeah, Denver was a lot of fun. Wait, I want to watch this on here. Will I get in a lot of trouble if I put it on here? They'll probably I'll get a strike. Let's see. 7 p.m. Come to Chicago. We came to Chicago. I guess that was like a year ago, but how do you even watch this? Who has TV anymore? There's no way you can stream this. How to watch? WNBC TV, WNJU TV, and Telemundo 47. NBC New York will carry a live stream. Actually, I'm getting off this so I don't get a copyright strike. Oh wow. Okay, this works. Can someone answer if I play it on here? Am I gonna get? I'm gonna get in trouble, huh? There's no way. Can you play a debate on YouTube? Only one way to find out. Yeah, but it's so annoying if you get a strike. Maybe we all sync up. Just send it and see. I like everyone's laissez-faire attitude about whether or not they take away my YouTube privileges. But I'm going to send a text. I feel like someone might be able to answer for real. And I'm going to say, I forgot to put these in, which means it would be very hard to do the audio thing anyway. Hey, Mail, a bird just flew into the pool area where I work, and I'm trying to get it out. Hey, that's a fun Wednesday problem to have. I love that for you. Um, hang on. Pacer or Thunder? I don't know. You tell me. Who should I root for? I have. It was fun to watch the Knicks, but it's hard for me to have thoughts about either the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Indiana Pacers. So you guys tell me who to root for. I probably won't be tuning in, honestly, especially with the French Open going on. Damn, it's so annoying. It's so easy to watch. It used to be so hard to watch shit like this, like when there was debates on TV and you didn't have cable. I can't believe NBC just has it streaming. And I'll probably get kicked off YouTube if I even play it. Wow, another late night watch from Ireland. We love that. Boost says it's 1:40 a.m. and I'm going to sleep. Good night, everyone. All right. Where's it 1:40 a.m.? Thoughts on Bublik versus Draper? I mean, that was a real thrill. I was wow, there's some real tennis people in the chat, which is incredible. That was so much fun. I was we were like at the airport and I was downloading HBO Max so I could watch it. Super fun. Got to be happy for Bublik. Incredibly sweet seeing him, cry, talk about how it's the most special moment of his life. But I was rooting for my boy Sinner to beat him. And he really did put a hurting on him. But that's okay. My parents are in Greece right now. What should I tell them to get me? Honey. Tell them to bring you back honey. They'll have to be sneaky, but you want tins upon tins of Atiki honey. It's the good stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I stocked up, but the Greek import store by me closed. I don't even know how I can get it anymore. Why don't you bring me some too? Wait, Boost, before you leave, where is it 1:40 a.m.? That's what I want to know. For the person who wants to know what their parents should get them, I mean, this is the stuff. You got to really wrap that sucker though. You tell them to bring plastic bags because you're not going to want that to leak on your clothes. All right? And you're going to have to check a bag because it's not getting through. It's not getting through security. Oh boy. Turkey. Okay. Sure. 1:40 in Finland as well. It's probably 1:40 in a lot of places, I guess. It's a whole dang time zone. All right. Well, we can at least we can cheat a little bit. All right. I'm surprised they're having all 9 people on. Does anybody know if this is the first mayoral debate of this? This seems crazy. I mean, the voting happens in what? 3 weeks, maybe less. But crazy that Whitney Tilson even gets to go on the stage. Oh yeah, early voting starts June 14th. It's June 4th. First of 2. Oh my God. Whitney Tilson, a former hedge fund executive. Can't wait to hear what he has to say. Oh boy. What does Whitney Tilson, the hedge fund manager, have to say on affordability? Oh, he's going to build on the City of Yes legislation to significantly ease the city's. Oh, of course. He's pissed about zoning restrictions. It is. I am glad there's someone running to support the private developers. For too long the city has treated them like the enemy, and you know what? That's just who's going to think of the private developers. I love this freak. Nice. More police. And good. That's what I'm worried about, the anti-police bias. You know what I mean? For too long, the NYPD has been the butt of jokes. They asked him about Trump. Oh boy. I'm not afraid of Trump. Okay. I will check this bully. This is good, of course. I mean, New York's funny though. I mean, it's like California. The Republicans are just running as Democrats. I mean, who is even the Republican mayoral candidate? It's probably, what's that guy's name? Curtis Silva. Yeah, but who's the Republican? Come on, I don't need Jesus Christ. Oh, of course. Like this is in a city like this is who the Republicans are. We love this guy. Elect this guy. You know what? I'm switching. Everyone stop canvassing for Zoran. And we gotta get this is this is the mayor New York City deserves. Ay ay ay. But this guy, I mean, this guy deserves to be the Republican in the Republican primary. This is just crazy. No matter who wins, I hope they raise the rent. Yeah, very good. I don't live in New York anymore, but how do I convince my friends there to vote when they don't pay attention to anything? I mean, ask them if there's anything that will really affect them. I mean, rent going up. Do they take public transport and want that invested in? You want someone who's going to fight for New York to work for ordinary people. homelessness. This is the real issue. What do we think Whitney Tilson thinks of the congestion pricing? That's what I gotta know. Wow. Surprising. Hey, Whitney, way to throw me a curveball, pal. Did not think you would support it. Great. That's good. I mean, that seems like it's universal with everyone here. I mean, what does Cuomo say? Okay. I mean, Cuomo is, the guy for suburbanites, so I'm surprised that even he's for it. Schools, Whitney. All right. I think we're gonna try. We're gonna let it rip. We're gonna see if I can. We're gonna see if I can put the debate on for a little bit, and we'll see if we get in trouble. Okay. We'll see if. We'll see if YouTube comes for me. What's the worst that happens? They shut down my YouTube account. I guess that would be annoying. But worse things have happened, huh? While we're waiting for that, I mean, there's a. Hang on. I had just seen this thing on. From some Zoran. I will say, I just feel like there's a ton of people who really do want want somewhere to funnel their kind of like anger and despair. And it is so nice when you can actually just take part in something. I mean, I got to do it a little bit in New York. Obviously felt it with like Bernie. It was so easy to just like get out and volunteer and feel like you weren't just being like, everything sucks. But I love this. I look at my past self and I see someone who watched John Oliver, watched The Daily Show, watched Hasan Minhaj, and I felt politically active. But when I look back, I did nothing. Sounding mused. I was angry all day, but nothing happened from that anger. Now I do not watch John Oliver. I do not watch The Daily Show. I do not watch Hasan Minhaj, and I'm 1,000 times more politically active, he continued. And then I go to bed at night and I'm not stressed existentially about it. This is them. I mean, God, that just feels good. You're out with people who, oh, whoops, I forgot to put this on the actual thing. But yeah, this is from, I don't know, maybe someone has the link. This is the real antidote, though. It just overloading yourself with information about how fucked up everything is, and which, hey, I'm guilty. I love doing it. I love just consuming, feeling terrible. But this is what it's all about, actually doing something that feels good. Damn, I am very jealous. I have to say that I'm not in New York for all this. I have friends who are like, it's so fun. Look at this. Getting a beer with your pals, trying to make the city better for people. Come on. What's better than that? Oh boy, but doesn't it feel good to also just make yourself feel terrible all the time reading horrible stuff? I mean, we love that too, folks. There's there's no there's an endless amount of horrific horrific things to make yourself crazy about. Oh, there's Kev. I will say this one has especially been. This one I had to like. I obviously saw the screenshot. People were screenshotting it and commenting on it, and I was like, I I know Lindsey Graham is a absolute ghoul, but I just that seemed. It was hard to believe that he would be rooting for them to be possibly killed, or yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, you're a deranged psychopath who should be frog marched to a jail cell at The Hague for the rest of your stinking putrid life. That sounds about right. Ay. Just absolutely horrible. Well, it also makes me remember, like, what did Rashida Tlaib even get censured for? Like, what did she say that? I don't know. I mean, again, this is the kind of stuff that's going to drive you crazy. You know, getting wrapped up in the hypocrisy of it all. Great. You know, how's that going to help me? You got to get out there. This is not a good example of getting out there, but it is fun to live stream with you, find people. We need a Zoran in LA. I need a big Zoran moment, or I need to just go back to New York. That's really the. I think that's really the real message here. Yeah, Jonathan. I remember her getting censured, but what was it? I mean, I can look it up. I'm very curious what the actual comments were. Wait, Emil, that's so based. I get so tired of liberals who drive themselves crazy over conservative hypocrisy. It's such a zero-sum game. It is, but it's hard to not. I mean, even this. I mean, it's just all so frustrating. You know, that people can just like fully talk about this. I mean, this is hardly even. I wish I had good examples. They have videos of Congress members walking through the Capitol and getting interviewed and just saying the most disgusting things about Palestinians, and there's zero issue with that. But if you have any criticism over the Israeli government, you are going to jail. So Okay, Michael Maxwell just fully spoiling the Wordle for anyone who hasn't done it. I haven't done it. I haven't done one in a while, but you know, it's 4 o'clock here on the West Coast. People still have time. Okay, Donald, are you in Finland or Turkey though? Or I guess no, you're probably somewhere west of that. Debate starting now on YouTube. This is the real question. Am I going to risk it? It's on YouTube. I feel like they're even crazier than they're going to be even crazier than NBC. Maybe I'll just do it on NBC and we'll give it a go. Actually, hold on. All right. Well, let's see.
Michael Blake.
Can you guys hear it?
Andrew Cuomo. City Comptroller Brad Lander. State Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani. State Senator Zelnor Myrie. State Senator Jessica Ramos.
How's the sound on that?
Former Comptroller Scott Stringer. And former hedge fund manager Whitney Tilson.
Yes, dude, Whitney.
Sponsored by News for New York.
I hope Whitney gets a lot of stage time. Also, how do I find out if they're going to copyright strike me? Is it just going to, am I going to get a big ass?
News for New York anchor David Ushery.
Good evening, everyone, from 30 Rock, and welcome to the first Democratic primary debate for New York City mayor. I'm joined by my colleague, News 4 Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo, Sally Goldenberg, senior New York editor for Politico.
Hey, David, I'm going to need you to shut the fuck up. I need some Whitney on the screen
live on all NBC
right now.
Telemundo 47 streaming and digital platforms, Politico.com, Telexitos, and YouTube. This first hour also live on Channel 4. The leading Democratic contenders are here tonight.
Damn, look how close they are.
On stage were chosen by random drawing.
This is not like a
question and answer. You'll have 1 minute to respond.
not like a classic
30-second
presidential debate.
at the moderator's discretion.
Oh, look at my guy's sneakers. Hell yes, brother. Stay comfy up there. He definitely did not think there was going to be a see-through lectern.
You have to say. Good luck to you all. We'll begin with Melissa Russo.
Beautiful.
Thank you, David. Good evening, everyone. It's good to have you. We're going to begin tonight with the issue that polls show is #1 for New Yorkers, and that is affordability. The cost of everything is squeezing residents in our city. New housing can take years to build, and we'll get to your plans on that a little bit later in the debate. But right now, we're interested in how you would help residents immediately. So what's your one big idea to make the city more affordable now, and how will you pay for it? We'll begin with you, Ms. Adams.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me this evening. You know, I'm actually the only candidate on this stage who is actually doing the work already. We have a housing plan already. I have built and delivered 120,000 new units of housing. And now with the new proposal that we have in front of us, we have over 80,000 new units of housing that will be coming up and will be affordable to the people of the city of New York. New York is not affordable. I'm a mother, a grandmother, and I want my children to stay here, just like real New Yorkers want their children to stay here.
Thank you,
I'm going to say it's going to be hard to look.
This is a 30-second answer. We'll go to you next, Mr. Lander.
We're going to have to all right, let's hear what Brad Lander has to say.
I'm Brad Lander. I'm the New York City Controller. I'm a lifelong affordable housing activist, and I'm a proud Brooklyn dad. Tonight, I'll show you that I'm the only one in this race with the progressive values to make this city more affordable, with the public integrity to sweep away the corruption of Eric Adams and Andrew Cuomo, and with the proven management experience, having already delivered over 50,000 affordable homes to actually deliver on my promises. I'll get 500,000 homes built over the next 10 years.
Okay.
Just
we're
a
gonna
guy
move
who
on
has
to Ms.
zero
Ramos. I want
juice.
to remind everyone the question is, what is your one big idea to make the city more affordable now? and
Ooh,
how
that
will
is a
you
good
pay
call.
for it?
He does look like
30
Tim
seconds, Ms.
Robinson.
Ramos.
Thank you, Melissa. Good evening. Buenas noches to everyone watching at home. Thank you so much for holding this forum. Affordability has been top of mind for New Yorkers since before the pandemic, but the pandemic only exacerbated the conditions for New Yorkers. This is why I set out as chair of the Labor Committee in the New
As long as we get to hear the hedge fund lady speak. Whitney is not a lady. Whitney is a man. And I think New York City is ready for their first hedge fund mayor with a woman's name. And I, frankly, support him.
Okay, Ms. Ramos. Mr. Myrie, your big idea, I haven't heard many big ideas yet, so if you can answer the question.
This guy,
in 30 seconds.
first and foremost,
Idea,
comfortable
make the city more
footwear
affordable now,
for every New
and
Yorker.
how will you pay for it?
Thank you, Melissa. I don't have one big idea. I have three. I want to deliver 1 million homes over the next 10 years. I want universal after school for every kid in this city from age 3 to grade 12. And I want to extend pre-K and 3K past 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. My parents came here 50 years ago, worked in factories to put food on the table, where union members sent me to public schools, and that's how I became a state senator and why I'm standing on this stage tonight. That same opportunity needs to be restored for so many New Yorkers, and that is why new leadership is needed, not the leaders of the past that caused the problem.
Thank you, Mr. Myrie. Mr. Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank WNBC and Telemundo for hosting today in Buenos Noches.
Quiet, an Italian is speaking.
I'm running for mayor because I think the city is in real trouble. I think we have a management crisis between the Adams and Lander administration. I think we have a fiscal crisis where the city is actually spending more every year than it is taking in. And I think we have a societal crisis where we have division and hate. On affordability, raise the minimum wage, put more money in people's pocket, more child care, after-school care,
Okay, Mr.
and then,
Cuomo.
of course, build affordable housing. I was the HUD secretary. I know how to do it.
Thank you. I'm turning it over to Rosarina.
Thank you, Melissa. Bienvenidos a todos. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We're going to ask the same question again, but please listen carefully. You have 30 seconds to answer. What is your one big idea to make the city more affordable now?
Let's go,
and how will you
Whitney.
Pay for it. Again, 30 seconds, Mr. Chilson.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Here's our guy.
Now may take a couple of years, but I think we need to address the housing crisis. Most of the people on this stage have called to freeze the rent, but I want to go one better. I think we need to drop rents by 20% by unleashing the private sector to build a lot more
Yes.
housing. This isn't pie in the sky. New York did this 100 years ago. Austin has done it just in the past 3 years. So the key is, though, is to ease the zoning restrictions and all the other regulations that are tying
Thank you, Mr. Chilson.
private sector.
Thank you very much.
You guys,
Mr.
Whitney
Mandel.
read abundance and he's ready.
Thank you so much
Here we
for
go,
having me.
Zoran.
We are live here in the most expensive city in the United States of America. 1 in 4 New Yorkers are living in poverty. And I am running to be your next mayor to make this city affordable. I will do so by freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, by making the slowest buses in the country fast and free, and by delivering universal childcare. And I will pay for this by taxing the 1%, the billionaires and the profitable corporations that Mr. Cuomo cares more about than working-class New Yorkers. I will ask them to pay their fair share so we can have a city that everyone can afford.
Thank you so much for that, Mr.
Wow, hell yeah. Sneaking in a shot at Cuomo. Beautiful.
To pass that tax increase, because from what
Oh,
we've heard
wow.
from
They're
Governor
already,
Hochul, it's not really
they have a
something that
follow-up
she's
question on
thinking
his
about.
one big idea.
can you
No one
guarantee
else
that
gets a
will
follow-up question.
So I have experience in this actually because in my first year in the state legislature, I came to Albany where we had a governor then who didn't
Are you
want to
kidding
raise
me?
taxes on billionaires and corporations. That was then Governor Cuomo. And we actually overcame his objections, raised $4 billion in new annual revenue, and finally funded the very public schools that he had starved for so many years.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
We have to go with Mr. Blake now.
That's insane.
As a South Bronx native family of Jamaican immigrants, the way we actually address affordability
That's
is
fucking
by
crazy. Everyone gets to say their piece.
increasing income
Whitney, whatever the fuck,
and having universal
gets to talk about how he's going to drop rents by unleashing the private sector
by having a
and bring abundance. No question.
living in New York City, by
Zoran talks about raising taxes. Hang on, pal. Before we get to the next guy, I actually have a question on that. So sorry. We're going to actually not have the next guy go.
That is how you pay for it. That is how we have affordability.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Mr. Stringer.
I want to actually put forth a program that can get done for young families and for the people who built this city. And it's very simple. We need to use city-owned vacant land, 1,000 properties, and transform that land into affordable housing. That property should go to not-for-profits, to limited profit developers, not the luxury developers that fund Andrew Cuomo's campaign, but the developers that can actually build the Mitchell-Lama 2.0 that we need. We owe it to the people who built this city and are now fleeing the city because they can't afford to live here. And we need to welcome the next generation of New Yorkers who will be here.
It was good for him, I will say. I just think it speaks volumes when they can't let it go.
Large over the city, given his proposed funding cuts and his interest in hometown affairs. Democrats say they want a mayor who will stand up to him. Mr. Cuomo, you've branded the president a bully. Mr. Stringer, you called him a schmuck. And Mr. Lander, you put his name on a car and crushed it in a TV ad. But voters want to know how you will actually deal with the president if you are elected mayor. We have questions for each of you, and you'll all have 1 minute to answer. Mr. Cuomo, we'll start with you. You have experience collaborating and battling the president. Currently, his Justice Department is investigating you, following a criminal referral from Congress, alleging you lied during testimony about your involvement in a report that undercounted nursing home deaths during COVID. With that probe underway, how do you ensure voters that you would not be compromised in your dealings with the president if you were elected mayor?
Yeah. Well, this is what Mr. Trump does, right? He started an investigation against me, against Kathy Hochul, against Senator Chuck Schumer, against Hillary Clinton. This is one of his tactics. I know how to deal with Donald Trump because I've dealt with him before. Many times, we've had many encounters. We fought on a daily basis through COVID, and I won many of those battles. I fought him on ice. This is not the first time he's brought ice to New York. He's done that before, and we fought him and we won. So he can be beaten, but he has to know that he's up against an adversary who can actually beat him. And I can tell you this, I am the last person on this stage that Mr. Trump wants to see as mayor, and that's why I should be the first choice that for the people of the city to have as mayor.
To follow up on that,
We're going to need to
Democrats
fight
also
Groper
raised
with
some
Groper.
concerns about
You
your
know,
testimony,
we need
so it
a
wasn't
guy
only
Trump
Republicans.
can
Putting
understand.
partisan politics aside for a minute, how would
Another
you respond to
serial
voters
sex
about
pest.
the congressional findings of your involvement in that report?
Yeah, first, putting partisan politics aside is virtually impossible nowadays. It's so toxic out there. The issue of COVID became a political football right away. It still is a political football between Democrats and Republicans, and even within the Democratic Party and within the Republican Party. And it's unfortunate. We should have been learning from the experience and finding out how we could be better prepared for the next time. But unfortunately, in this toxic environment, it's been nothing but politicized over and over again.
Okay, we have to move on, but I just want to add that the question was how would you respond to the allegations, but we have to move on.
Melissa.
Okay. Mr. Mamdani, you have said that Mr. Trump's Department of Justice can't be trusted, and that was after the news broke of Mr. Cuomo's alleged reported DOJ investigation. First, quickly, just a yes or no answer. Do you think that President Trump is unfairly targeting Mr. Cuomo?
No, I don't think that it's unfair, but I have no interest in believing that they're actually pursuing justice.
Okay. Second part of my question.
And to be clear, it's not unfair because Andrew Cuomo did lie to Congress, but ultimately we know that the Trump Justice Department and the Trump administration as a whole is interested more in vindictiveness and persecution of political enemies than in anything to do with justice.
Okay, so moving forward, you are also a socialist, and because
Jesus
of that,
Christ.
why wouldn't President Trump target you and by extension target New Yorkers? You have 1 minute.
President Trump will target whomever is the next mayor of this city. President Trump
This is
even
going
targeted
to fucking drive me
his
insane.
in many ways, accomplice, Mayor Eric Adams, who has collaborated with the Trump administration at almost every opportunity. And still, in the midst of that collaboration, we saw that New Yorkers are being taken off the streets in their apartment building lobbies. We have $80 million being taken out of our city bank account. So I don't think there's any question that there's any mayor here that will be free from being attacked by Donald Trump. What's more important, however, is that we have a mayor who will actually fight back. And that's what I will do. I am Donald Trump's worst nightmare as a progressive Muslim immigrant who actually fights for the things that I believe in. And the difference between myself and Andrew Cuomo is that my campaign is not funded by the very billionaires who put Donald Trump in D.C.
Hell
I
yes.
have to pick up the phone from Bill Ackman or Ken Langone. I have to pick up the phone for the more than 20,000 New Yorkers who contributed an average donation of about $80 to break fundraising records and put our campaign in second place.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani, thank you. Mr. Cuomo, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, please. Mr. Mamdani is very good on Twitter and with video.
Oh my
he actually
God.
produces nothing for him to accuse me of lying. He also called President Obama a liar and said President Obama was evil.
Oh, yeah.
Take everything with a grain of salt.
Evoke Obama.
Donald Trump would go through Mr. Mamdani like a hot knife through butter. He's been in government 27 minutes. He passed 3 bills. That's all he's done. He has no experience with Washington, no experience in New York City. He would be Trump's delight.
All right, brief response, Mr. Mamdani, then we have to move on.
Look, it's true that I don't have experience with corrupt Trump billionaires who are funding my campaign. I
Nice.
don't have experience with party politics and insider consultants.
Or
I do
government.
have experience,
This rocks.
however, with winning $450 million in debt relief for thousands of working-class taxi drivers and actually delivering it to the working-class people I claim.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Lander?
Whew,
Mr. Lander,
this is
you
going to give me a
presented
heart attack.
yourself as a
It's like
tough-talking Trump
the Bernie
resistor,
shit
but
all
as
over
mayor,
again. The way they
you're
ask the
expected to
questions.
deliver, including aid for the city. So how can you do that if you're always at war with the president? You have 1 minute.
Look, when Donald Trump and Elon Musk stole that.
Also,
$8
whoever said the
billion
Tim
from New York
Robinson
City's
thing,
bank
thing
account, I
is just
uncovered
nailed it, and I
rang the
cannot.
alarm bell, and I forced
This
the
guy's
mayor into court
just
to get it
full
back.
Tim Robinson mode.
You stand up and fight. You go into court when you are in the right. 1 week after he was elected, I became the first financial officer anywhere in the country to lay out where all that federal money comes into our budget with a really concrete plans for how we put money in reserve so we'll be able to respond. But look, with all the corruption that's in Washington, we can't have corruption here in New York City as well. It's not only that Andrew Cuomo
Someone's asking
lied
for
to
the
Congress
interview
with his
volume to be a little
perjury,
higher.
He also lied to
Does
the
that-
grieving families
does that
whose
help?
loved ones he sent into those
Let me know
nursing
if that's-
homes to protect his $5
And your
million
mic down. I
book
wanna bump my
deal.
TV,
That's
but then you're
corruption.
yelling at
That's
me.
what I
Okay.
crushed in that junkyard. So when I'm
Let me know
mayor,
if that does
I will
it-
stand up to Donald Trump. I will
if
make
the
sure
levels
that
are a
we've
little
got
bit better.
a budget that's ready. So when they come for our Medicaid, we've got an independent authority ready to keep providing reproductive
I can
health
move the
care,
levels more.
housing, and education for
Mr.
all.
That's
Cuomo,
good.
would you like to
Okay, I'm
respond?
getting it. That's
Yeah,
good.
please.
Or your
Mr.
mic lower?
Landers,
My
let
mic
loose with
lower?
the facts.
Great, perfect.
If he wants to talk about the facts on nursing homes, we'll talk about the facts. He's just parroting Trump's allegations,
I said it
which
long
were
before he
actually
did.
disproven by the federal government now.
Which ones are you
New
talking
York-
about specifically?
Levels are good, baby.
In terms of the rate of deaths in nursing homes, New York is number 38 out of 50. Number 38. Only 12 states had a lower rate of death, which is really something when you consider that we had it first and worse than anyone else. And when it comes to corruption, Mr. Lander knows corruption because his office approved $500,000 of contracts to organizations associated with his wife, which he said his
But
deputy
I would really just like to
approved,
clear
even
one-
though the deputy reported to him.
I would just
mean,
like to
it's
clear one thing up,
It's
Mr.
part
Cuomo.
of the corruption
Okay.
of the city. is
It's
what
a
I'm saying.
lie, and you know it every word.
Yeah.
Lies
I hear
all the
you.
time.
But the question is whether or not it's political and whether or not your congressional testimony was truthful. Were you, now that you've had time to reflect, involved in producing that report that undercounted those nursing home deaths?
Oh, there was no doubt that my administration produced the report, and it did not undercount the deaths.
Okay,
It
but you're still
counted-
saying you were not involved in
No,
producing it.
It's very clear. That's the Trump line, the MAGA line, right? Because this was during the Trump reelection.
Oh, this is gonna
The
kill
New
me.
York reports always
I also can't
counted
believe
the
they're-
number of
they're-
deaths where they occurred.
They're
Either
doing
nursing
the.
home
It feels just like the
or
Bernie
in
thing
a
too, of like
hospital.
Biden's
Now
the
that
only
the
one.
old dust is
Biden's the only
settled,
one who can handle this guy. We need the oldest guy in the world to do this. And now we just need the guy with the most.
All right, hold on, candidates.
Did you
If
lie
you're
to
all talking.
Congress?
All right.
Will you acknowledge the deaths?
Okay.
Oh,
I mean,
fuck
it's an
yes.
old-
Everyone
it's a very
team up
black
on
and white.
Cuomo.
Did you lie to Congress, or will you acknowledge the death?
All right, Mr. Cuomo, we need
15,000
to-
people died, and he still won't answer your question.
All right, here's a chance to answer the question as Melissa presented it.
Yes.
Mr. Cuomo.
No, I told Congress the truth. No, we did not undercount any deaths. When they are all counted, we're number 38 out of 50, which I think shows that compared to what other states went through, we had it first and worst, and that only 12 states had a lower rate of death. We should really be thanking the women and men who worked in those
Mr. Cuomo,
nursing
just-
homes and did an extraordinary
Okay, very
job.
quick yes or no follow-up, if I may. Just the question is, were you involved in the producing of that report? It's just a yes or no question.
I was very aware of the report. I spoke to it at press conferences.
No, before it was
multiple
released,
times,
Mr.
and I
Cuomo. The
stand
question is
by
about the
report.
production of the report, the creation.
All right, I think-
Okay, we're going to move on. We're not getting an answer. We're not
I
going to.
stand by the report.
It was just to whether or not you were involved.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Mr. Myrie, Mayor Adams and Governor Hochul have negotiated with Trump.
Okay, also, this has
Former
got to be
Governor Cuomo
great
has as well.
for
As mayor, what experience
Zoran,
would
right?
you
I mean,
bring
oh,
to the
fuck.
table?
I do want to hear this guy talk about
Let me
comfortable
just
footwear,
say to
though.
the people watching at home who are afraid to send their children to school, to the families
mean,
who are afraid to show up to court.
I kind of figured Cuomo would look like shit, but my God, he's getting chewed up there. And Zoran definitely was prepared for. He knew they were going to treat him like shit. I just can't believe they're. I mean, he's the only one with a little fight in him. I've seen him yelling at ICE officers, actually taking a stand against the things Trump does. It's absolute bullshit to sit up there and question him on New York City versus Trump.
He has demonstrated over these past 6 months that he is not interested in helping this city. We have to grow our tax base so that we can be independent from the federal government. And that's why I have a plan to deliver 1 million homes over the next 10 years. It's why I want free after school for every kid in this city. And it's why I want to extend pre-K and 3K to 6 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Myrie. Rosarina?
Thank you, Melissa. Ms. Ramos, vamos a hablar de Trump ahora. You talked about fighting President Trump, but you also said in a campaign questionnaire that you seek partnership with him. How do you envision working together with him? You have a minute.
You know, I've already seen a very clear blueprint about how to elegantly school President Trump. And we saw it in Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum and how she led on negotiating the tariff scandal with the president. And so
We stand
I'm
a
here
queen
to
bringing
say
up Claudia.
that not only should my administration litigate to protect immigrants, to protect gender-affirming care, but we should be ready to withhold our federal taxes when Trump unlawfully takes away funding from the things that we need. We have to play chess, and we have to be smart, and our taxpayer dollars are our leverage.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Mr. Stringer, the next question goes to you. Fighting Trump has been a key element of your campaign. Is there anything that Trump wants that you will be willing to give him in exchange for something that the city needs? You have a minute.
Look, this is why it's so critical to elect a mayor with real experience. Experience negotiating, experience understanding what the stakes are here. Look, Donald Trump is coming for New York City. He's hell-bent on collapsing the social
I don't think anyone is watching right now going, Scott Stringer is the guy. This is the guy. Woody Allen's younger brother is the guy I want.
Because I fought him and Trump won.
I think he
When he
can
was coming after us,
fight
I
Trump.
managed to divest $4 billion from fossil fuel. I divested from private prisons. I divested from gun manufacturers. He didn't slow me down. He sped me up. But right now, we need a mayor who's going to put aside $1 billion in a very, very rainy day fund. We need a mayor who's going to insist that the banks and the next controller come to the table and strategize about how we have a short-term plan to get the city to the congressional elections. No one has more experience in city government and knows how to do that than
But
me.
Mr. Stringer, the question is, if he wants something in exchange, will you give it to him?
I'm not quid pro quoing with Trump. What I'm going to do, and this is my strategy, is I'm going to organize the same thing that happened during the days when Ford said to New York, drop dead. We're going to go to the business community. I'm going to go to our congressional leadership, Schumer and Jeffries. I'm going to organize this city and this city government to wage a fight in Washington to protect the epicenter of the national economy,
Thank you very
which is
much.
New York City.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on.
Thank you,
to
Scott
Mr.
Stringer, for your
Tilson now.
service.
And the question goes to you, saying you've been blasting Mr. Trump since 2016 when you reported, call him El Diablo in Spanish, the devil, as mayor. How can you make a deal with him? We're talking about a pact with the devil.
Look, I think I've been fighting Trump and Trumpism since
Everyone
long
shut
before
up.
then,
Whitney's
since
talking.
He came down that escalator 10 years ago this month. And but I do think we Democrats have to stop giving Trump gifts, like when we let ourselves be defined by our far left, by socialists with their defund the police nonsense and open borders, et cetera. One area that I do agree with Trump is that when a socialist like Zoran here tweets that the NYPD is, quote, wicked and calls to defund and dismantle the NYPD, that is madness, that is costing us elections, and it's why Trump has doubled his share of the New York City vote in the last 3 elections from 17% to 30%. We've got to move away from the far left and the socialism that's sinking our party and our city.
Brief response, Mr. Mamdani.
I want to be very clear that police have a critical role to play in creating public safety. And when I speak to those very officers on the beat, in the rank and file, I hear from them a frustration that where they joined the force to tackle serious crimes, we are instead now asking them to play the roles of mental health professionals and social workers. And that is why we are putting forward a plan to create a Department of Community Safety that will tackle gun violence, homelessness, the mental health crisis.
All right, Mr. Mamdani, we might get to some of those issues. I just want a brief response to
It's critically important, and I think it's important in a moment when we have a candidate to my right who is absolutely mischaracterizing anything that we've put forward in this campaign.
You can check his Twitter feed. He has not deleted the tweet that calls the NYPD wicked and to defund and dismantle the NYPD. It's still up.
Thank you, Mr. Tilson.
All right, thank you. Mr. Blake,
those tweets.
You often highlight your past roles in the Obama administration and in leadership of the National Democratic Party, which has since lost the White House and is struggling to
I mean, what do we think? Obviously, this is huge for ordinary people, right? I mean, ordinary people just tuning into, turning on Channel 4 and watching. Obviously, I imagine the people watching on this are probably leaning towards Zoran, but I'm very curious. I'm so biased, but I feel like everyone here looks terrible.
And say, you will not abide by unconstitutional behavior. Second, we will ban ICE at our schools and our places of worship. We will designate them as safe havens because there is no reason at all that ICE is going after our immigrants, in particular families like mine from Jamaica. Third, since I have White House experience under President Obama, State House experience locally, as well as what's happening as a reverend and a community leader, you need to understand that there is someone right now who can lead New York City. You have heard people now not be able to answer
No
the
offense,
question,
but I don't think
but they're saying they
many
can actually
younger people are
represent
tuning
you.
in on cable.
I am ready from day one because of what I have. From the
I don't
White
think so
House
either,
to the
but
State
regular
House
people are.
to your house.
I'm sure
Thank you, Mr.
Zoran
Blake.
can reach a lot of
Thank you,
young
Mr. Blake.
people
Ms.
online.
Adams, your most powerful campaign supporter
But I'm curious what-
is New York Attorney General Letitia James, an arch rival of President Trump. How would you ensure that you, and by extension New Yorkers, are not a casualty of their war?
Everyone's.
Thank you very much.
I'm muting the people I don't really care about. I'm curious mostly about Cuomo and Zoran.
She does endorse me.
But
you know,
we'll start.
When,
I mean,
when the
also
name
if you're
Donald
familiar
Trump
with the
comes
polling
up,
at all,
the first thing the advice that I get from the attorney
these
general
people
is that
have
when
no
Donald
shot.
Trump comes your way and causes
So,
problems for New Yorkers,
but we can listen
sue
to what they
him.
have to say.
That is exactly what I am doing right now as we speak. We have an executive order that is in front of us that is illegal, that Mayor Eric Adams had his first deputy mayor sign. The mayor didn't even sign it, but the first deputy mayor signed it. And it would allow ICE to come onto Rikers Island, Donald Trump's ICE, to come onto Rikers Island, which has been illegal since the year 2014. I have a TRO, a temporary restraining order, that Judge Rosado feels that our case has merit. We have sued him, and New York will win. I will always be a mayor that will stand up for our immigrants. Donald Trump's ICE has no place on Rikers Island. Donald Trump's ICE has no place pulling our people that are taking their legal court dates now. No,
I also am kind of tired of
in my New York.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
Obviously, Trump dominates
Thank you, David.
the entire.
Let's turn to public safety.
Here we
It's a
go.
top concern for many New Yorkers, especially
Dominates the
underground
news cycle,
on the
but-
subways, which so many New Yorkers rely on to get to work. We're seeing
I'm
fewer
sure people are a little
robberies
bit
and
more
overnight,
interested in what
2
he's,
cops
what
on
people
every
are actually
train.
going to do
But
in New
still,
York.
many New Yorkers simply don't feel safe on the subways. We'd
Oh,
like
good
to know
crime.
what
I'm sure this
plan
is going
each
to go
of
well.
you have to change that. You have 30 seconds, and we're going to change the order and start with you, Ms. Ramos.
Thank you, Sally, for the question. You know, right now, we want to make sure that we are recruiting and retaining police officers. This is why I'm offering a workforce housing initiative to make sure that we help them be able to keep New York City their home. We want to attract them here. I want to increase their entry-level pay. I want to stop investing taxpayer dollars in RoboCops and toys and actually think about the officers themselves. But we have to assess deployment and upskill our EMS workers to respond to mental health emergencies.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Mr. Myrie.
Thank you. I take the train every single day. I took the 5 train to this debate.
Hell yeah, brother.
So I'm experiencing exactly what New Yorkers experience, and that is things feel different on our subways. People tell you that you shouldn't believe what you're experiencing, that the numbers are down and that you should feel more safe. But that's why people tune out of politics. Are the facts. Things feel different, so here's what I want to do. I want police and clinician teams 24/7, 150 of them throughout the city. I want to ensure that everyone feels safe no matter what neighborhood
I got to
they're
know
in.
where these people
And
are.
I want to ensure that we do that
polling
on my
before.
first day.
If I'm going to listen to
Thank
anything,
you.
I got to
Mr.
know
Cuomo,
for
your
at least.
plan to make the subway safer.
Yeah, part
Well,
of it is
hang on,
we have to admit what we did wrong. The people on the stage, almost without exception, were all defund the police. Mamdani dismantled the police, reduced the police by 3,000, $1 billion in overtime, and now
He keeps
they're
saying
going for more
Mamdani.
police. We wouldn't need more police if we didn't defund them in the first place. In my first 30 days, I will take every homeless person off the trains and the subway stations and get them the help they need. We did it before, we can do it again.
I feel like Zoran's really going to.
We're going to fact check that he literally said defund the police himself when he was governor. All right.
All right.
The man,
Oh, hell yes.
This is the third time he's literally lied about everyone on the stage.
We will get to this.
We're coming
We will
around.
get to this.
Are you saying you didn't say, Andrew, are you saying you didn't say defund
I
the
never
police?
Hell
supported
yes.
defund the police.
Are you saying you never said defund the police?
I never supported
you just
it.
Did you say
I
it,
used the
motherfucker?
words defund the
So
police.
again,
I said I
you-
don't support
So
defund the
you
police.
just said everyone else did that, but you would not acknowledge.
Mr.
You
Cuomo, did
supported
you
it.
say?
I
He
do
did-
not
All right,
support
hold on, gentlemen.
Did you say that it
Is
was
this
a
gonna become a
legitimate
Cuomo child
Okay.
Talk
school of
about
thought?
issues.
Hold on. Let
I
us
think
frame a
that's what he's
question here.
I think that Mr. Blake may be talking about something you said, which is that both are legitimate schools of thought. Defund or don't defund.
And,
you gave it some legitimacy in
And
public.
I disagree with defund
Yes,
the
you
police.
did.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'd still like to respond.
We're coming around.
We'll be coming
We wanna get-
around.
Mr.
We're
Tilson
coming
is-
around to everybody.
Mr. Tilson.
Hell yes.
Yeah, I'm fully supportive of the increased police presence in the MTA. In fact, transit crime is down this year. It shouldn't be, I shouldn't have to say this, but
I want a
the key to
RoboCop
reducing
in
crime
every subway
is,
stop.
Fully staffed police that are out there enforcing the laws. And we need to make crime illegal. And this is now happening down on the subways where they are starting to enforce the lower level crimes, the quality of life crimes, drinking, smoking, spreading out.
Bro,
over the
make
subway
crime
cars.
illegal.
And
This guy
police are
sucks.
arresting more, and it turns out that 30% of the people they are arresting have criminal records of more than
Okay, I'm sorry.
20
We do have to move
felonies
on.
each.
We're at time. Mr. Mamdani.
In my Department of Community Safety, we are going to
Here we go.
put together dedicated teams of mental health outreach workers who will be deployed to the top 100 subway stations with the highest levels of mental health crises and homelessness. We are actually going to address this in a manner that goes beyond the same ideas that we hear time and time again, recycled by the same politicians like Andrew Cuomo who brought us to this point. And if we care about the police force, then we have to actually listen to police officers. They are leaving this force, 200 of them each month. And when you ask them why, it's because of the forced overtime. And part of the reason that
We're
that
at
is
time.
taking place
Thank
is
you,
we're
Mr.
asking them to
Mamdani.
respond
We're
to
at
every
time.
failure of the social safety net.
Thank you, Mr. Blake.
The people who don't feel safe are young women, mothers, and grandmothers around Andrew Cuomo. That's the greatest.
You know I
threat to
want to
public
mute this
safety
guy,
in New York
but
City.
I'm going to
Now,
get in trouble.
Specifically to your question.
Okay? So
I have
we'll
said
listen
very
to what Michael
specifically,
Blake has to
we
say.
need 1,000 mental health professionals on our subways
frankly,
and
I'm
streets.
tired of the
And
allegations.
so therefore, you could have police then with body cameras on go do precision policing outside. The police will indicate they were not trained on addressing mental health. Let's utilize those persons who need the help immediately. If we take those steps, then we can also make it a point to help make sure everyone gets home
Mr.
alive.
Blake. We're going to move on to everybody, but I want to give Mr. Cuomo an opportunity to respond. Mr. Blake raised the issue of sexual harassment allegations with your administration.
Just if people who are watching at home have to be incredibly frustrated.
Yeah, with you, bitch.
They defunded the police. They reduced the number of police. They're now saying we need more police. We should have reduced them in the first place. And we need mental health experts to address the homeless, mentally ill. And we do that by getting them off the train so we can assess them and get them to mental health.
Would you like to respond to Mr. Blake's comment about sexual harassment?
Should listen right now.
All right,
that Andrew Cuomo would not respond when had a chance about sexual. Every woman watching tonight, he was just given a chance to actually address the clear claims that were stated and ignored it.
Okay, we do have to move on.
It's so nice that Zoran doesn't have to do this. That's incredible.
Mr. Stringer, can we please hear about your subway safety plan?
Gentlemen, listen.
We are moving on from this question. You had an opportunity to respond. Mr. Stringer, please tell us your subway safety plan.
Kids, it's grown-up time, so just give me a second.
Oh, my God.
Let me straighten this out for you.
Thank you, Scott Stringer.
No, you got it, man.
Absolute legend.
We're spending $1.3 billion in police overtime because we don't have enough police officers. We have the lowest police count in a generation, so we need to hire 3,000 more cops. But in order to get them, we have to go into our communities and get the wonderful, diverse citizens to come into a department, but we also have to make it worthy of doing it. That's something I'm going to do. But look, I will say this to you. The crisis that we have is twofold. It's not just about policing. It's about also helping the people who suffer from mental illness, and we have to align policing with the mental health initiative. Why Andrew Cuomo has the nerve to talk about defund when he signed the bail reform bill with loopholes that you didn't even read the bill?
Mr. Stringer.
That is something that really caused the crime problem in our city.
We're at time, Mr. Stringer. Ms. Adams.
Thank you so much. To address this claim that everybody's called for defund, I have never called for defunding the police, and I never will. In the 2021 budget of the City Council, we were in a season of COVID, and many agencies had to be reallocated. Their funding had to be reallocated. Many agencies, not just the New York Police Department,
where are you polling?
The City Council, our funding was even reduced during that season of COVID. But my public safety agenda calls for police to be taken out of social work and mental health, for our police to be paid what they are worth. We have always supported a budget that reinforces our police department.
Thank you, Ms.
and
Adams.
we always will
We're
do
at
that.
time. Mr. Lander, again, the question is about looking forward, your subway safety plan.
Yeah, I've got a dear friend whose middle school daughter, who takes the train to school, was pushed to the ground by a homeless person with serious mental illness. This is a big deal for all of our families, which is why I have a ready on day one.
This guy is too much.
Plan to end street homelessness.
This guy's vibe
with serious mental
is
illness. We don't have to
off
be a
the
city
charts.
where a couple thousand of our mentally ill neighbors cycle from subway to street to hospital to jail and back again. It's a
I have
plan called
nothing
Housing
to
First. It will work. I do have to go back
support
though,
this,
because
but
in
I
a
just
prior
would not
round,
let this
the
guy
former
near
governor
my.
told a lie
Not
sourced
even
from
my kids,
Twitter
my
about
entire family.
wife.
I want this
When I
guy
go
to
home
stay
tonight, I better be able to
away.
make clear it's 100% false, and
Okay.
he knows it.
Thank you, Mr.
Mario
Lander.
Cuomo famously campaigned in public.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lander. We're going to move on. Melissa has another set of questions about public safety.
Please don't talk.
Yeah, please
We're
don't
gonna try
talk,
to get
Mr.
much
Lander.
in as
You're
we
making
can.
us
Melissa
If you won't lie about my
all
wife, I'll be
uncomfortable.
good the rest of the time.
Thank you. Okay.
We do like that
We're
he's standing
all
up for his
familiar
wife,
with what
okay?
it's like
We do
to try to buy
stand that, but-
toothpaste or beauty products at the local drugstore and having to wait for it to be unlocked. Shoplifting is a sad fact of life in this city right now, and many in law enforcement blame bail reform, since most shoplifters can no longer be held in jail. So they get arrested, they most often receive a ticket to appear in court, and they're usually released to steal again. That's how law enforcement describes it again and again. So we have a few specific questions, and you're going to have 30 seconds to answer. Mr. Cuomo, we will start with you.
It's the
because
driving
you
crooner
signed the
look.
bail
It is.
reform
It's
legislation.
fucking.
Governor Hochul has made some changes since you did that. Do you think bail reform is working, and how would you stop shoplifting and other low-level repeat crimes? You have 30
yes.
seconds.
Yes. Just to go back, if Mr. Lander says his office didn't approve 500,000 contracts, that his deputy approved affiliated with his wife's organization.
Every word a
although
lie.
The deputy
Dock his
reports to
time.
him.
If he doesn't want to talk about it, if he wants to talk about his wife,
well, then it's
you
easy
get 30
enough to
seconds,
check.
pal.
Mr. Cuomo, you're using your time, just so you know. You're going to have 30 seconds.
Yes.
On bail reform, we all talk about how terrible Rikers Island is, and it is. It's a disgrace that it is still being operated by this city.
Your time is up, Mr. Cuomo. I'm sorry.
Per person. And
time's up.
Time is up. I'm sorry. I am. Mr. Myrie, you voted for bail reform as well. How would you stop shoplifters if you were the mayor and other low-level crimes?
Also, do you guys know how hard it is for me to be mean to the one Italian guy
needs to be held
on stage?
accountable, and we made changes
Okay.
to our criminal justice laws because things needed
sucks for
to
me.
change. And here's how I know.
This
I
is
was
the best we
robbed
can
with
do.
my mom in an elevator in the building that I grew up in when I was very young. Her worldview is informed by that experience. We have to ensure that every New Yorker feels safe in every neighborhood wherever they are, and that is what I'm going to do as mayor. I'm going to return our police headcount to what it was in 2018, and I'm going to ensure that all New Yorkers feel safe wherever they are.
Time. Thank you, Rosarina.
Yeah, Ms. Ramos, the same questions to you. You voted for bail reform. How would you stop shoplifters and other low-level crime to take a toll in the city?
Well, we have a little more than 1,000 recidivists in the city of New York, and I've been hard at work in the Senate already, making sure that we're looking at treatment courts in cases of kleptomania, but clearly there are organized rings that need to be taken down by the NYPD. So I'm here to say that there's
Also, I feel like we're gonna
accountability
have to take a
also have to
take a
make
poll
sure
on
that there is a balance
what are the
with
odds
the job opportunities that should open up if we address
that
all of
Whitney
the crises
says
that
make
we are
crime
facing.
illegal again.
But let's remember that you voted for the bail reform.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Mandani, you're opposed to rollbacks to bail reform, and you do not want to hire more cops above the current authorized level. How would you stop shoplifters and these repeat offenders? What's your approach?
I want to sustain the headcount that we have in the police department. And I want to listen to police officers who are leaving in droves from the department because they're being asked to do the work of mental health professionals and social workers. Right now, police officers pick up hundreds of phone calls a day that are mental health crises, hundreds of thousands a year. That's not the work that they signed up to do. And when it comes to shoplifting and retail theft, the key here is to listen to workers themselves. They have spoken time and time again about the need for increased staffing in our Walgreens and our Duane Reeds. And when it comes to organized crime,
Thank you very much.
we have to ensure the police actually hold them accountable.
Thank you, Mr. Mandani. Mr. Blake, do you see
We
a
want
need
Whitney.
for change to the bail reform, and how would you end the retail theft as mayor?
Absolutely. So I proudly supported it when
I'm
I was
not
in the
even
assembly because
thinking
Khalid
about
Browder was my
muting this
constituent.
guy.
And we talked about raise the age and bail reform.
I
and
wouldn't
speedy
even
trial. We had
dream
to do
of
that.
it.
But we need to make it different and stronger now. And to your question, that means we have to hold repeat offenders more accountable, be much more attentive to that degree. But the broader dynamic, if we help New Yorkers make and keep more money in their pocket in the first place, then we wouldn't have people speaking about
Zoran
shopping.
does seem the most sane.
That's
It's
why we need to
crazy.
have
I
local
know.
median income. That's why we have to have guaranteed income.
I feel like he's got to
That's
be
why we have
coming
help
out
people on the
of this
front
feeling
end, so we're
like
not
an
talking about them
absolute
being
champ.
arrested on the back.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blake. Sally.
Thank you. Mr. Stringer, we're going to go to you with the same question. Do you see a need for any further changes to the state's bail laws, and how would you tackle
Also,
retail
gun to
theft?
your head.
Well, look, I've seen retail theft in my own neighborhood.
Can you
walking
answer
into a Duane
what a
Reade with my
comptroller
kids
is?
And just seeing the shelves empty, and then having
There
to
is no
push a
way.
button,
I'd
wait 10
say
minutes
I'd
for
say 1 out
a
of
young
100
staffer who is- whose job is not
Americans
to be my personal shopper. This is
answer
wrong.
what a
And
comptroller
that's why
is
we
correctly.
need to put cops on the beat, working with the small businesses to root out the people who are constantly coming back to do this. But we also have to make sure that the people who are doing the stealing also have opportunities to get them the housing and the services that they need. See, we have to walk and chew gum at the same
We're
time
at time,
when it
Mr.
comes to
Stringer.
criminal justice.
I just want, since you used your time, just a yes or no question. Do you see a need for further changes to the state's bail laws? Just yes or no?
Look, I think right now it's been changed a couple of times.
Okay,
When
not a
Cuomo,
yes or no.
let me just say, when Cuomo signed it, he didn't do the work of a mayor or
No,
governor. The
okay,
mayor
it's
and the
not a
governor
yes
are
or no. It
supposed
was
to
just
go
a yes
through
or no question.
legislation
We're gonna move
and
on to
find
Ms.
the
Adams.
loopholes, and he didn't do that. Too bad.
We're moving
I
on to
thought a
Ms.
comptroller
Adams.
worked
Ms.
at toll
Adams,
booths for
same
some
question
reason.
to you. Do you see any need for changes to the state's bail laws, and how do you plan to tackle retail theft as mayor?
The state just made some adjustments and some tweaks, so let's see how that goes. We need to take a look at the ringleaders at the higher levels of the folks that are carrying and actually doing the stealing. Low-level criminals are wasting away on Rikers Island. Some have committed suicide under this current administration. So what we need to do as far as public safety is concerned, I will fill the over 2,000 vacancies within the NYPD in my first 8 months as mayor. This is what we need to look at. Others are looking at bringing in thousands and thousands of police officers. We have vacancies to fill. This will work. This is what our NYPD needs, better management.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lander, do you see a need for changes to bail
Oh
reform?
God,
Or what would you do as
I
mayor
can't even.
about
I don't want
this
to.
retail
Oh,
theft?
I've got a detailed plan to combat retail theft, so the toothpaste is not always behind lock and key. You can look it up on my website. To develop it, I took lessons from NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch, who I want to keep
I've never seen a
as
more cursed
commissioner
vibe.
because crime's coming down and accountability is going up. It involves giving a panic button, essentially.
If I'm walking in
to
Park Slope
retail
and I see
stores.
this
They
guy,
don't have
I'm
to call
crossing the
911.
street.
They can report quickly. Investigations can be thorough. And I've actually taken the idea from the conservative Manhattan Institute that drug treatment courts need to be central in our response.
You just named two of my bills, the Retail Worker Safety Act with panic buttons and my mental health court expansion.
Ranked choice voting.
Quick response? Okay.
I'll do 'em as mayor.
All right, thank you. Sally, you had a quick question here.
Yeah, well, I guess we also for Mr. Tilson.
Yes. Mr. Tilson,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
get
let you
Whitney in
respond.
there.
But just on that, Jessica.
Yeah, I guess because Mr. Lander brought her up, just a quick show of hands, who else would keep Jessica Tisch as police commissioner? Okay, thank you.
Haven't decided yet.
Okay. All right. Mr. Tilson, you said you would cut crime by 50%.
Make crime illegal.
Do you want
Make crime
changes to
illegal
bail
again.
reform? What can you do to tackle this low-level crime?
Yeah, well, I do very much believe we need to make substantial changes to bail reform and discovery reform, both of which went too far. Like what I said earlier, we basically decriminalized all low-level crime. Shocker, it went way up. So we need to have more police officers enforcing the law, and we need to change the legislation such that prosecutors can actually punish repeat offenders. I just talked to a cop right here in Midtown North.
Never
last
talk to
week,
cops, Whitney.
Who told me they're down from 300 cops to 120, and they have to fill out so much paperwork when they make an arrest that the criminal is back out onto the street before they're finished with the paper.
All right, Mr. Tilson, thank you. Rosalina.
Thank you, David. Now we're going to talk about e-bikes. Bicycle deaths in the city have reached record heights in the recent years, with injuries also surging, many involving, of course, e-bikes. Just the past hour, Mayor Adams announced a plan to impose a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit on e-bikes. Do you believe this is the right way to improve safety? And what else would you do, Ms. Adams? You have 30 seconds to answer.
Yeah, a lot of those, the e-bike riders are people that deliver food to our homes, and they have families as well. I do believe that there needs to be a closer look, which we are doing in the City Council as far as regulation is concerned, but we have to be careful.
But this regulation with 50 miles
battle
per
over
hour, is
e-bikes.
this the right approach to regulate it?
Well, as the mayor normally does, he does not collaborate with the City Council, which had we done that collaboration together, we might have come up with a different solution other than 50 miles, and I believe is a penalty, which we could have come together and
Honestly, what about the
realize something
rats?
much more reasonable for bike riders.
Just to clarify.
15.
15
I
miles.
understand.
Yes,
I
thank you.
understand.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
Who's going to
Mr.
enforce that?
I think the pedal assist city bikes go 17 miles per hour, so that seems pretty good to me. But we've got to go upstream here to the folks that are causing this. Uber
I'm trying to
Eats
be
and
nice
Seamless and
to Brad
DoorDash
Lander.
need to be held accountable for the trips that are taken where they're
I don't
making
know
money.
what it is.
They've got the data to
I
keep
don't
folks safe.
like
and
this.
you can't operate a car dealership in this city that sells cars without license plates to people without driver's licenses. So we've got to hold the sellers of mopeds accountable. Those are motor vehicles, and they need to be treated that way if you're going to sell them. They've got to have licenses. They've got to have license plates. They have to operate safely.
Ms. Ramos.
Well, we have to end the criminalization of our delivery workers and bicycle riders. A lot of enforcement has now changed from civil summonses to criminal tickets, and that is leaving breadcrumbs for ICE and leaving many of our community members vulnerable. That being said, it is high time that we post speed limits and adapt our street design for the use of bikes and e-bikes. The fact is that we have to get them off the sidewalks. We have to make sure that they are abiding by the rules. And this is why we need public education in English, in Espanol, in all of the languages that
Ms.
our
Ramos.
riders speak.
Thank you very much. Mr. Myrie.
There's no question that things feel
I will say,
different
the
on our
e-bikes
streets, and that
are a
these
tricky thing.
categories
It's
of
funny, when I was
vehicles
in,
are not built for our current structure and on our streetscape. So
when I
we
was
have
in
to regulate.
Amsterdam, it's like everyone bikes, but now
companies
everyone
that
has
are
an
making
e-bike.
money
So, I
more
mean, and
accountable
already
on
the
this.
tourists are
But we
so
also
bad
have
with
to
walking
ensure
into
that we are
bike lanes and
doing
stuff.
this in
But now everyone's
collaboration,
zipping
doing
around
this
at
in a
like
smart
35
way,
miles an
and
hour and just
ensuring
getting their
that the
shit rocked.
enforcement on this is actually going to be going through. What we have seen is uneven
I have no idea
enforcement
what you
in
do
this
about
space,
that,
and that's
though.
why there are
Good
older
luck
adults in this city that are afraid to cross the
figuring
street
that
because
one
of
out.
how things feel.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cuomo.
Yes, I think this is another example of just dysfunctional city management. We passed a state law allowing e-bikes. It was supposed to be regulated by the city. You've had all sorts of accidents, all sorts of warnings. The city has done nothing. The speed has to come down. City bikes voluntarily came down to 17 miles an hour. You have these e-bikes, some of them doing 25, 30 miles an hour. You have to bring down the speeds, but you also have to have them registered by the apps. They're the ones who are making the money. Let them license.
I like that they switch out the.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tilson.
This issue is actually quite personal to me because
great.
I ride
He's got
my
a
bike in the city every day. And in fact, I'll bet I'm the only mayoral candidate in history who ever rode his bike to the mayoral debate, as I did this evening. And those
Whitney,
e-bikes have made things
continue to
a lot more
surprise me.
dangerous, not just for pedestrians. So I've been calling to speed limit them since the beginning of my campaign. I totally agree with that. And I will tell you, just in the past couple of months, since police have started issuing citations, the e-bikes are behaving themselves a lot more. I see a lot fewer blowing through red lights, blowing up on
Thank you,
the
Mr.
sidewalk.
Tilson.
We love when the
remind you
e-bikes
guys that
behave
these are the
themselves.
people taking, most of them, your food to your offices and your homes. Mr. Mandan.
You know, I find it ridiculous to hear Andrew Cuomo talk about how we need to regulate the apps when this is the very mayoral candidate who has a super PAC that received $1 million from DoorDash.
Oh,
How are
shit.
you
Get
going
his
to
ass.
regulate DoorDash when they are giving you $1 million to influence your street
He's
safety
writing on the
regulations
paper.
and
What are
your
you writing
labor
down?
regulations? This model, this economic model, is one that doesn't just incentivize e-bike riders to break street safety laws. It often requires
Thank you,
them
Mr.
to do so
Mandan.
to make the
Mr. Cuomo,
deliveries
do you want to respond to that?
Yes. I work for the people of the state of New York, the people of the city of New York. I don't care who gave me what.
Oh my God.
I do what is right, and that's how I.
But you don't
I've
feel
always run
compromised?
that's how I've always run my.
But don't you feel
career.
compromised?
I just said the apps should be held responsible. They are the ones who should have to license the bike, register the bike. They should be responsible for the fees. They're the ones who are making the money.
Thank you, Mr.
And in
wouldn't
terms
trust
of
the guy
who
who's gonna
represents
get
who,
$1
Thank you very much. We have to go to Mr. Blake.
Mr.
Wow,
Blake.
that's a beautiful moment, though.
Just want to make sure we internalize that Andrew Cuomo just said, I don't care who gave me what. That's not a man who's actually going to break the corruption in City Hall. You need a new vision right here. To your question around e-bikes.
Okay, I know I
one of
muted
the
him a
reasons
couple
why we
times,
cannot
but he is
have an
absolutely
increase of people getting tickets
destroying
is that it will absolutely lead to the harassment
Cuomo, and I
of
love
more
it.
communities of color and immigrants in particular. Now, we definitely have to focus on what's happening around speed limits, but also how to reimagine what our city can be, because we cannot continue to have a 2025 city with a 1905 infrastructure.
Mr. Blake,
So we've laid out the vision at blakefornyc.com on how to address e-bikes
much.
as well as a new city.
Mr. Stringer.
Let me start by asking, just answering the question. Yes, I think 15 miles an hour is reasonable, and I think the mayor is right about this. But in the time that I have, I do want to follow up about DoorDash, because that $1 million contribution crossed the Rubicon. And the contributions of donors who were giving between $250,000 and $1 million are fundamentally buying the mayoralty. And that is something that we spent 20 years never trying to get to again since City for
Mr.
Sale.
Stringer,
And
thank you
you
very
are
much.
writing a new book about how to take the mayoralty 1, 2, 3, and I find it
Mr. Stringer,
offensive.
thank you. Brief response, Mr. Cuomo.
Yeah.
This
I
rocks.
live with the campaign finance rules. They're talking about an independent expenditure committee. And let's remember who represents who here. I am the person on this stage who represents the working men and women of New York City. The labor unions have endorsed me, over 650,000 strong.
You were fine on the campaign finance board. I got this.
Get his ass.
We have to move on. I think
What?
The issue's been spoken to and addressed. We have another question here for you. We'd like 30 seconds on this. You've all spent years in politics. What's your biggest regret? We'll begin with you, Mr. Blake.
Well, right now it's dealing with the Campaign Finance Board, who is illegally not having me on the second stage, where they have now admitted in writing 4 times that they made incorrect determinations of my matching funds. And if you go to our website, you're going to see we challenge that.
Is that a regret of something? Your regret in this? Or?
Well, my regret is that I've been trying to have patience with the Campaign Finance
Okay,
Board.
Mr. Blake, thank you. Mr. Mamdani, biggest regret in your years in politics?
You know, as a Democrat, one of my regrets is having trusted the leaders within our own party, leaders like Andrew Cuomo. because what we've seen is that kind of leadership has delivered us to this point where we are under attack by an affordability crisis on the inside and a Trump administration on the outside. And Democrats are tired of being told by leaders from the past that we should continue to simply wait our turn. We should continue to simply trust when we know that's the very leadership that got us to this point. We need to turn the page for new leadership to take us out.
Mr. Tilson?
Yeah, my biggest regret is that I didn't see Joe Biden's decline and call for him to resign earlier.
My
It
God.
wasn't until after the debate
Whitney,
that
you
I
beautiful
became
boy.
one of the loudest voices publicly, nationally, calling on him to step aside. But unfortunately, by then it was too late, and we handed Donald Trump the presidency.
Whitney, you
Mr.
beautiful,
Cuomo, your
beautiful
regrets
man.
all the
You
years
perfect
spent
liberal.
Politics,
That the
biggest-
Democratic
Now that
Party
it's safe
got
to
a
do
point
so.
that,
Cuomo,
we
what's your
allowed
biggest
Mr.
regret?
Trump to be elected, that we've gotten to a point where rhetoric has no connection with reality, where a person who has served in government for several years, only passed 3 bills, believes they have the experience and credentials to run the greatest city on the earth. And the Democratic Party seems okay with that.
Mr. Cuomo, this
No
question,
personal
was,
regrets
this question
at
was
all.
about your personal regret in your years
None.
in politics.
I
In
said I
politics.
regret the state of the Democratic
Oh
Party.
my God.
Is
No
in that
personal
we elected
regrets.
Trump.
Not the 15th.
No regrets when it comes to cutting Medicaid or health care. No regrets when it comes
Hell
to cutting
yes.
child care. No regrets when it comes to slow walking PPE and vaccinations in the season
This
of
is
COVID to black
incredible.
and brown communities. Really, no regrets.
Well, first of
No
all,
regrets.
This is
We have
just
to protect
fucking
Medicare
beautiful.
for our
That-
city's
that did-
retirees.
Okay, we're
no
getting- we
Medicare
want everyone to be
advantage
able to
for our city's
respond to this.
retirees.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to respond to this, Mr. Cuomo. You only have a few seconds.
Yeah, but
No, I understand, but
it's not.
you-
It is just not accurate. Medicaid went up under me. I led the nation
cut
under
healthcare.
COVID.
Okay.
I pushed President Trump to give us everything
cut
he
healthcare.
had.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Right.
I
We
was
asked you the
there
biggest
every
regret.
day
You expressed it.
leading
Okay.
COVID.
Okay.
I
Understood.
was
Mr.
there
Meyer.
when everyone else was.
No regrets.
I have to ask
Damage
him
All right, all right.
No
Mr. Cuomo,
regrets.
I'm sorry. I'm sure that people at home must be wondering about your answer to this question because we speak to voters throughout the city and quite a few of them will say, I'm not sure exactly what happened with those sexual harassment cases.
Oh,
we know
yes.
that you say you never sexually harassed anybody. You say you're running to restore efficient government and efficient leadership. But in the past, your leadership came with what more than one investigation concluded was a toxic work environment, especially for women. And some of those cases are still ongoing. So I just
Is
want
he
to
gonna
ask
hit him
you,
with
since
the,
we're talking
"I'm
about
not a pervert, I'm
regrets,
Italian"?
You have apologized to some of those women back when you were still governor. What do you say to voters now, looking ahead to your potential mayoralty? Are you doing anything differently? And why should they believe that that same situation won't happen again?
Yeah, Melissa, let's just make sure we have the facts. A report was done 4 years ago making certain allegations. I said at the time that it was political and it was false. 5 district attorneys, Democratic, Republican, short, tall, looked at it all
Short,
across
tall?
the state, found absolutely nothing. One case has been resolved. I was dropped from that case. I said at the time that if I offended anyone, it was unintentional, but I apologize, and I say that today.
There was also a Justice Department investigation, but we'll move on because we're out of
we
time.
detoured there because of the issue raised, but we also want everyone to respond. Mr. Murray, biggest regret in politics?
This is incredible. This
I
feels
regret
like
not having secured more funding for after school earlier in my career, but I want to turn to Andrew because during
These are short answers, Mr. Murray, on your
No,
I
no.
have 30 seconds.
Let him
correct?
let him go after
when
Andrew, please.
I was in the ICU during COVID,
Oh,
writing
hell
legislation
yes.
to protect my community. You were the most powerful person in this state, and you were in the governor's mansion taking a $5 million deal. Do you regret taking the $5 million, and will you
Hell
give it back?
yes.
Yeah. First of all, that's not true.
What part?
I stood up
What part?
every day and fought for this state, for COVID, against President Trump, for PPE, for masks. I was in emergency
I was
rooms.
in a hospital.
I
All right,
did-
gentlemen,
I did not-
gentlemen, I need
May I
to
say
step
this?
in.
We're wearing
Slow walk.
This is
Gentlemen, I
beautiful.
garbage bags for PPE.
yes.
Do you regret taking
We're going to,
$5
gentlemen, we're going to
I
pick
did.
up. It's
We
the
were
way,
doing everything
Mr.
we
Cuomo.
could every day to get
Mr.
as
Cuomo,
much
people
as
aren't going to
we
hear you
could.
if you.
We're
We are
gonna
going
come
to
back.
finish
We have to
this.
take a break.
We have a break right now that we have to take. We will pick up with the issue. I assure you. We're just about at the 1 hour break. We're going to continue this online. Channel 4 goes to regular programming, but wherever you stream News 4 New York, continue watching us. We will be right back with more of this discussion.
Holy smokes. Oh my God, they're talking. Oh no, they're not. Cuomo looks pissed. Wow, they all just have to quietly stand there while they wait for the break. This is incredible. This feels like, remember when Elizabeth Warren just absolutely bodied Michael Bloomberg in 2020? This feels like that. This is this I did not expect this. This is an absolute thrill. And I hope, oh my God, you guys also keep absolutely nailing it. It's like Tim Robinson and John Lovitz had a baby, and it is the most disturbing person I've ever seen. No, not a 1 hour break, like the break at 1 hour. So they're probably playing some ads and are gonna come back. Holy shit. This guy, yeah. This cannot be good for Cuomo. I'm curious if people are talking about it. Oh, hell yeah. Am I glad you told me about the debate tonight? I am glad. We're going to talk about some bullshit. Oh my God. This is great. This is so true. This is like, it feels, they're forced to contend with this. Part of the reason it was so annoying watching them refuse to do any kind of primary with the Joe Biden stuff. We're back, but now I do want to see what people are saying. Okay, great. People are talking about that we need to make crime illegal because that was an absolute banger of a line. Oh. Yeah, this rocks. I missed the first half hour. Did I miss any good moments? Who knows? Who's to say?
An hour of the first Democratic primary debate for New York City mayor. Once again, I'm joined by my colleague, News 4 Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo.
Alex Elcheb, I gave you the baseball in Denver. Hope I wasn't too pushy. No hard feelings if it's junk and you got rid of it. Also, hope the Denver airport didn't give you. Brother, we loved it. We were so happy to. It was such a nice thing. Don't even worry about it. It was super cool. It was really nice.
Candidates, with all of us on stage, so many, we wanted to give a chance for voters to hear as much as they can, but we also have to try and get all the production things done too. We are going to pick up with Mr. Cuomo, given a chance to respond to what Mr. Myrie said, and then we resume with Ms. Ramos and Mr. Lander and Ms. Adams to talk about their biggest red in politics. So, Mr. Cuomo, just a brief answer here.
Briefly, we led the way under COVID. Every day I got on that TV, I informed New Yorkers of exactly what was going on. And
is this man just going to get his hiney spanked for another hour?
For the COVID, for the PPE. There was no doubt that in the beginning there was no PPE and people were using garbage bags. But we fought vehemently for it. When the first phase had passed New York, we actually got through the first phase. It was then going to other states, and that's when we were trying to share lessons.
What happened to city field vaccines?
All right, we're going to continue on, and you may have a chance. Ms. Ramos, biggest regret in your years in politics.
We had the vaccines. You use a vendetta
Ms. Ramos.
This is. I honestly think by the end of this hour they might convince Cuomo to drop out.
I had been in the Senate for 2 years. I'd already passed over a dozen bills. I thought I needed more experience, but turns out you just need to make good videos.
Mr. Lander.
I was the champion for the Gowanus rezoning, which is producing 8,000 homes in my district. But I'll be honest, I wish I had pushed for even more housing in my district.
Was that a dig at Zoran?
Council member, because we need it. But let's be clear, sexually harassed 13 women, marked up
This
that
guy-
state health department report to undercount nursing home deaths.
I'd be surprised if clips
has
of this
now
guy
forced taxpayers to
are
spend
not going crazy on
$60 million
Twitter
on
Mr.
with how
Lander,
crazy
bills,
this.
has
Your
learned
biggest regret-
absolutely nothing, taken no
Mr. Lander, your biggest.
responsibility.
Okay, Mr. Lander, thank you.
David,
He does not deserve your
may I?
trust.
You can't let him sit there.
Briefly, please.
Yeah. The report was done, 5 DAs, nothing has come of it. In terms of the paying legal fees, yes, the state pays legal fees. The state was sued, Kathy Hochul was sued, and I was sued. And the controller knows that because he was sued 15 times and the city paid the bill. He was sued by parents of the disabled. He was sued by homeless providers who said he was, he didn't do anything about the safety conditions. He was sued by people who said he mismanaged the pension
thank you, Mr.
fund.
Cuomo. Thank you, Mr.
and
Cuomo.
the
Mr.
city
Lander, you
paid.
have 15 seconds to respond.
It's just every one of those things is false. The thing about my wife was sourced from Twitter.
Yo,
Honestly, I have
you
no
better keep
idea
Brad
where
Lander's
he got
wife out of
this
your
one.
mouth.
He's lied to you so many times on this stage tonight, takes no
All
responsibility.
right, we're going to move on. Miss Adams, if you could
deserve
speak to your biggest
15
regret.
times.
Thank you, Miss Adams. Your biggest regret in your years in politics.
Well, obviously, my biggest regret is believing that Eric Adams would be a good mayor for all New Yorkers. I have had to restore budget cuts from this mayor. I've had to save pre-K. I've had to save 3K. I've had to save our libraries. I've had to save our cultural institutions because the mayor of the city of New York thought that it was his job to cut all of those and to slice and dice the livelihoods of our children, cultural institution, our elders, our seniors through their library services and their food services as well. I have had to be the champion to make sure that all of those services were restored for the people of the city.
Mr. Stringer.
I've thought about this question through my career, and I would say that the biggest regret from a policy perspective was when my mom died of COVID before her time, and she was a great trailblazer, the first woman elected city council in Washington Heights back in the day. She was a real fighter, but
His
she lost the
biggest
fight with
regret
COVID.
was when his mom
I
died.
really wish before I left the controller's office that, like with so many other issues, I really was able to really build a COVID recovery plan for the
thank
city.
you, Mr.
And I just
Stringer.
ran out of time.
We'll continue with Telemundo anchor Rosarina Breton.
Thank you, David. A very important issue for my viewers in Telemundo 47. We're going to talk about immigration, okay? So as we know, President Trump wants to abolish sanctuary cities like New York, and his administration has applied pressure to force cooperation on deportation. So to understand a little bit more this issue, we're going to give you couple of scenarios, hypothetical scenarios.
Oh,
You're
okay.
going to have a minute to answer this one. Mr. Cuomo, we are going to begin
Cuomo.
with you.
And before
Let's
we
say
begin,
ICE
we're
notifies your city-run hospitals that they must stop offering medical care to undocumented patients, or the federal government is going to withhold millions of dollars in funding. What do you do?
Wow, I like this line
I've
of
gone
questioning.
through this with Mr. Trump before with ICE.
But what would you do now?
You cannot give in to Mr. Trump and his demands. You cannot.
But let's say he's cutting funding.
You can't. It will never end. If you give in to him, he is a bully. I know him well. If you give in to him today,
So what
you
will
will
you
be
do?
giving him your lunch money for the rest of your life.
So what's the solution?
You have to fight him, and the way you fight him is not by suing him. Yes, of course you sue him, but he gets sued 10 times before he gets out of bed in the morning, right?
Kind of like you.
That doesn't
And the
bother
lawsuits
him.
are winning, by the way.
We need a national coalition, which we can put together, of like-minded states and cities that will oppose these actions. And then we're going to have to eventually beat him politically in the Congress, but you cannot give in to his demands.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo. Mr. Chilson?
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump throws 50 tweets a day up there, and most of the time you just ignore him. If he actually does act illegally to try and blackmail us, you have to sue to restore that funding. I am appalled.
Yeah, the
by,
kinda like you was
what
beautiful.
Trump is doing to terrorize immigrant
Okay,
communities.
also, I just want to be
and
honest with
demonize
everyone. There's
immigrants in
something
general,
about Whitney
and
I
that's an area,
like. I don't know
I
what
will
it
fight him,
is, okay?
tooth and
He's
nail.
like my,
Mr. Mandani?
he's like the
Our city is
anti-Brad
under
Lander.
attack by an authoritarian Trump administration. And it is under attack that is now being echoed by Trump's allies right here in New York City. And I say that as someone who would be the first immigrant mayor of the city in generations, someone who just yesterday had a sitting elected official call for me to be deported. This is not an intellectual exercise for the people of New York City. We deserve to have a mayor who is not funded by the same billionaires that put Donald Trump in D.C. We deserve to have a mayor who will actually fight back. And the way that we fight back is ensure that our local
white man
institutions
confidence. It's
continue
the
to provide the services to each and every New Yorker.
But the question is, how can you protect those people? Going to hospitals, how can you protect them?
Here's the thing. The Donald Trump administration will use the fact that they fund 7% of our city budget as leverage over us to try and give up whichever category of New Yorkers they are pursuing in that day. Ultimately, what we need to do is tell those same institutions we will provide them that funding, and we'll get that funding by taxing the 1% and the wealthiest corporations right here in New York State.
Thank you so much. Mr. Blake, I'm going to remind you the question is, ICE notifies the hospitals.
Okay, I know I'm
that,
obviously insanely biased here, but I cannot.
Care to immigrants.
It seems like this could not be
How
going
can
better
you
for Zoran. This is
this
this is incredible.
As a son of Jamaican immigrants, where I was born with a heart murmur in North Central Bronx Hospital, and my mom that's watching right now, and my wife who's Jamaican and Honduran, this is important for us to expand the conversation of what's happening. To your question, we create the protections by designating hospitals, schools, community centers, places of worship as safe havens where ICE is not permitted to enter unless there's a signed judicial warrant. Moreover, we have to expand the conversation. We've made very clear we will remain a sanctuary city to make sure that we are protected, full stop. But it also is important about how do we have the rhetoric, that we will not tolerate rhetoric against our immigrant communities. The same way we will not tolerate anti-Semitic behavior. We will not tolerate Islamophobia. We will not tolerate anti-Blackness and anti-Latino rhetoric. And that means at the same time, we have to protect our nonprofits that are helping our immigrants as well, which is why I said you must grant as well as reimburse nonprofits earlier that are helping our immigrants, in particular our undocumented ones right now.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Mr. Stringer.
Look, we first have to make it clear that the buck does not stop with Donald Trump.
They do him so dirty when they
allow
leave
us to
Blake in the
build back
picture
the health
and just show how
services that the federal
small
government
Scott Stringer
could
is.
take from us financially. This is why we need a mayor who knows the buck, because that's the job
Scott
of
Stringer
mayor,
wants to answer the real
understanding
question.
How we actually get
Is
through
New
the
York
Trump
ready
era.
for
But it
its
doesn't
first
stop there.
tiny
Look,
mayor?
My experience has always been about fighting in Trump 1. And we won a lot of those battles. We won those battles during COVID. We never backed down, but we were strategic. And that's why we need to work with our Washington partners. You know, there are Democrats in Washington ready.
Hold on, did he say Washington?
Who brings a
Was there an R in that? Did he say
ability
Washington?
to deal with the economics of this crisis? But this is not a time for training wheels. This is not a time for somebody who has never dealt with the finances of the city to be mayor of New York.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stringer. Now, Ms. Adams, we're going to go to you next. We're going to change a little bit the situation. Let's say that you learn that ICE is planning to stop immigrants outside your hospitals for possible roundups. Would you warn them? And how would you handle this situation? You have a minute.
You know, it's work that I'm already doing as
I'd be so
Speaker of
pissed
the
if I
City
was Adams
Council. So
the
I've
whole
already
time.
stepped up in
I'm coming
leadership
up with
to do
a
this. I've
scenario.
had a target on
Okay,
me
great.
because I
I've listened to
refuse
5 people.
erode our
I've got the perfect
sanctuary
answer,
city
and then they
laws,
change it on me?
I refuse to do this. My mission is and will be when I am mayor is to protect the immigrants of the city of New York. New York is a city made up of immigrants. So it is our responsibility to make sure that all New Yorkers, our old New Yorkers and our newer New Yorkers, feel safe in this city. As mayor, I will not kowtow to Donald Trump.
But would you warn them that they're...
I will absolutely use my bully pulpit as the mayor to warn, as I am doing as city council speaker pretty much on a daily basis. The work that I am currently doing as speaker, I will expand as the mayor of the city of New York. Donald Trump will know that New York will remain a sanctuary city regardless of his threats and his chaos. We will stand because we are a city and a nation, and we will be that model once again for other cities in this country to take a look at and to work towards becoming like New York.
Thank you. Mr. Lander.
Thank you, Rosarina. I mean, as you well know, 40% of the 8 million New Yorkers are foreign-born, 50% live in
Mr. Lander,
mixed-status
stay
households,
away from
including
immigrants.
1 million children. This is the future of New York City that we're talking about, which is why I was proud to be a co-sponsor of those sanctuary city laws. 3 specific things I would do here. 1, it's not just the mayor. Every New York City employee needs to understand the sanctuary city laws. So I've got a detailed plan to make sure our school social workers and receptionists, our shelter security guards know the sanctuary city laws. So we'll have a network to get this information out and absolutely warn people before they walk into ICE. I've proposed creating an independent health authority to segment off city money from Medicaid money. And I want to expand NYC Care so it's not just in health and hospitals, but in our federally qualified health centers as well. That'll make sure our immigrants are protected.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ramos.
Rosalina, Trump mintió. Trump anda detrás de todos los inmigrantes. Pensamos que solamente iban a ser los supuestos criminales y hemos visto que eso no es verdad. We have to keep ICE out of our hospitals, out of our schools, out of our houses of worship, out of any public
answering
institution.
in Spanish goes pretty hard.
Really
The other ones are going,
cooperation
should
of
have done
ICE
that.
with the NYPD only when it comes to the 90+ charges under the current sanctuary city law. Those are very serious charges. I want to make sure that in a town with so many lawyers, our immigrants have lawyers and our immigrants do what they came here to do, work. It'll be my responsibility as mayor of the city of New York to create entry points into the economy so that they can stay busy, provide for themselves and for their families, and honor the fabric of this city and of this country, which cannot function, whose future won't be brighter without our immigrants.
And that sounds like that sounds like a great plan, but would you be using taxpayers' money for that?
Yes, this is actually making sure we are expanding Action NYC and our cooperation with our community-based organizations, clinics with our 7 law schools to make sure that we are on the ground protecting and teaching people their rights.
Mr. Murray.
This isn't just a hypothetical for me. I grew up with pretty severe asthma, and both of my parents would take me to a city hospital, Kings County Hospital, when I had an asthma attack. They weren't documented then, but they knew that the city had their back. So not only would I be warning, I would be assuring them that we had their back right now. Sanctuary city laws used to not be political. Well-known progressive Rudy Giuliani stood up for our sanctuary city laws because he understood what this community meant to our city. I plan on doing the same. This isn't a time for us to give half measures to say, well, maybe under this circumstance and maybe under that circumstance. We have to stand up. They are snatching
I know,
people out of
Hannah,
our schools.
I didn't want to say it,
They're
but
snatching people out of our courthouses.
this man is
we cannot
always
stand
in the
for that
hospital.
this
Is
moment.
that something
I
we
have
need to
a
worry
frontline
about?
agenda. I want to hire 50 more lawyers to the law department. I want to go on the offensive. I want to utilize the 10th Amendment to ensure that we are not carrying out the federal government's immigration policies. We have to stand up in this moment. That's what I'll be as the next
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Sally?
Thank you. Let's move on to another very important topic, public schools.
Okay, when are they going to give all the
tax
other
dollars on
candidates
public schools
knives
than
and let them
anything else.
go
But
after
shelling out
Cuomo?
some
Because that's what we're all here
$40,000
for.
a year per student, only about half of New York City kids can read or do math at grade level. Only half. Bottom line here, what do you see as the top reason for that dismal return on this $41 billion a year investment, and how would you turn it around as mayor? You'll all have 30 seconds to answer. Mr. Blake, we'll begin with you.
We have to address literacy and have a better pedagogy on the front end so that our teachers and our educators and families are able to make sure that we address this critical issue. It's the reason why I led the My Brother's Keeper program. But it also means that we have to be clear.
All right, I'm going to keep the audio
be
going,
against
but I do want to see what's
that is happening in our schools. And something that many people may not realize. In 2008, Andrew Cuomo said that no candidate should shuck or jive in an election. Clearly, Barack Obama was there. So when we talk about education, it's not just about making sure that we're understanding how more kids can read, but making sure we address the anti-blackness happening in schools.
We're at time, Mr. Blake, and before we move to Mr. Mamdani, Mr. Cuomo, would you like to respond to that?
Here we go.
Ridiculous. So no.
What about it is ridiculous?
Is it inaccurate that you said in 2008?
I never insulted President Obama.
Is this?
Is it?
Mr. Mamdani who said he is a liar.
Is the quote incorrect?
And evil.
This is
I never insulted.
Okay, not hearing an answer to
this is
whether
very
the quote
clear.
is incorrect.
In 2008,
in
2008.
We do have to move on because many people do want to hear about public education, so we're going to move on to Mr. Mamdani to discuss. Okay, you can have 45 seconds to answer, to respond to him, and please address the question about public schools.
Yes, absolutely. I'll do so shortly after.
Okay, please get his
Mr.
ass.
Cuomo, who said these words of shuck and jive when Barack Obama was running, to be the president of our country. I was proud in 2008 that the first doors I ever knocked on was for Barack Obama. While we had a candidate here.
Why do you call him an evil and
While
a
we
liar?
have a candidate here
Why
who
would
is
you
so
call him
who
a
is
liar?
a candidate here who is so allergic to any accountability or acknowledgement of a mistake that he can't even admit that he said these kinds of words. Now, as it pertains to public education, all of the challenges that we are facing in our city when it comes to our schools, they are also downstream from the fact that 500,000 of our children are going to sleep hungry every single night. 100,000 of them, for the 9th consecutive year, are now homeless. We need to ensure we have a city where our children can not only have food to eat, a place to call their home, and we also have to have the full implementation of class size reduction.
Mr. Tilson, we're going to move to you. And I just want to remind you, we do want to know a solution to the problem.
Also, this is so annoying about politics in America. You have two options. You can run as a Democrat or a Republican, and if you run as a Democrat, you have to just appease the DNC machine. You have to pray at the altar of Obama, or
If you're a business person, I know, and I am.
you're dead in the water. Like I don't care what anyone said about Obama.
Success and few, if any, consequences for failure. I served on the board of KIPP charter schools for more than 20 years, and 15% of our public schools, the charter schools, are held accountable. Not surprisingly, they are the best charter schools, public schools overall in the city, delivering for kids.
We have to move on, Mr. Cuomo. And I just want to remind you again, we've established that there's a problem. We're looking for solutions. Mr. Cuomo?
Gotcha. Interesting, Mamdani never denied saying Obama was evil and a liar.
I believe neither
Obama is evil
You didn't deny that. You said
and a liar.
Neither of you denied
And that's
the post
okay.
raise.
He did not
But we are
deny
here
that
to
he
talk
called
at this
President
moment about
Obama.
public
Okay,
schools.
Mr. Cuomo,
No one denied any
Mr.
quotes
Cuomo,
that were raised.
solutions to
Mr.
public
Cuomo,
education.
you address it.
I need just 5 minutes.
I understand
Hold on.
that education is
Again,
very
please don't
important.
force us to.
Education is a very important issue to New York
I'm proud
City.
that I raised.
Okay, we're going to move on. Mr. Myrie, do you have...
No. Let's give Mr.
Time
Cuomo.
I'm proud that I raised education to the highest level of any state in the United States. I understand the point about we need to reform the education system. I would start with the DOE. They spend hundreds of millions of dollars on consultants. We don't know what we get. I want a real analysis of the curriculum. New York City.
Dude, he said
solves and New
Obama,
York City
and
reads.
he cannot say
We need more
Mamdani.
paraprofessionals
Every
in
time he
those
hits him with the
schools. One
Mamdani.
out of 8 children are homeless. It's too much for a teacher to do.
Understood.
Pay the paraprofessionals.
We're at time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cuomo.
More assistance.
I got it. Thank you. Mr. Myrie.
I wouldn't be standing on this stage if not for our city's public schools. I went to PS 161, the Crown School, and made my way to Cornell Law School, with Brooklyn Tech and Fordham in between, only because there were teachers that got up every single day and put their best foot forward so that I can be on a path to success. But we also have to think about what is happening after school. We had learning loss over COVID-19, and I want to provide universal after school to help make up for that learning loss. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have an after school program that taught me karate, even though I was terrible and I was the only boy on the step team and have the moves to prove it. I want to give that to every single kid.
We're at time now. We're going to move to Ms. Ramos.
Well, now I have to shout out PS 70, IS 10, and the Academy of American Studies in Astoria. I wouldn't be here without them, and my children wouldn't be where they are in middle school in Queens if it wasn't for PS 69 in Jackson Heights. Look, it's true that our children suffered some lapses in developmental and social skills throughout the pandemic. I've seen it. So I want to make sure that we are delivering on teacher centers so that our teachers have more supports, giving NYC Reads more time to really seek in, and really providing our District 75 schools with all of the funding they deserve.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ramos. Mr. Lander, again, we are looking for solution-oriented answers.
I don't want to hear what this
Both
guy
our
has
kids
to say
also
about
pre-K to
schools.
12 in New York City public schools. Shout out PS 107.
The only thing I want to hear is a commitment
30
that he won't
seconds to
go
start.
near
I've got
a
a
school.
detailed plan. I'm the only candidate in the race with a detailed plan on my website for education. How I'll measure what matters, what metrics I'm looking at, how I'll recruit, retain, and support teachers, including a teacher's center in every school, and how I'll deal with the growth we've seen in mental health crises, in homelessness, and in chronic absenteeism by making every school a community school so it can support all our students.
Thank you. Ms. Adams.
You know, prior to becoming an elected official, I was the education chair for my local community board. Education has always been a priority for me. It always will be. We raised 4 children in the public school system. So again, I am that everyday New Yorker that knows what this feels like. So we know that the DOE has the highest budget of all city agencies. What I would do would be to redeploy resources. I have seen as council speaker how difficult it is to
I'm muting
maneuver
it for 1
through
second.
the DOE agency.
I'm curious about this.
Snap your fingers as governor, and it happens.
Well, it
I
will never
proposed it
happen
every
if you
year.
empower the IDC
Please, can you
and
stop
give the
can you
Republicans
please stop
control of the
interrupting?
state Senate.
Can you please do that?
If you stop lying, I will stop interrupting.
Okay, snap your fingers as governor, and it.
All right, sorry. Oh my God, we're
Need
missing
help.
poor Stringer.
And they
That's
need
on
it
me.
now. They need mental health services. They need extra tutoring. And we're not providing that with this $40 billion budget. I know that because I audited the Department of Education more than any controller in history, found missing computers, missing iPads at the height of COVID. But here's what we have to do. Childcare, baseline pre-K, 3K. We need an after-school program that focuses on tutoring and giving kids that don't have parental resources financially the help they need. It doesn't matter how you start the race. It matters how you finish the race.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer. We're at time. David?
Okay, thank you, Sally. We call this next section of the debate, What's in a Name? We have 3 quick questions looking for fast answers. We'd like you to answer each of them with a name. We'll go down the line, starting with Mr. Stringer. Right now, who's the most effective Democrat in the country?
It's not Eric Adams. I would say the most effective Democrat right now is Hakeem Jeffries.
Okay. Mr. Blake?
I would say myself because I actually defeated Donald Trump
Beautiful.
when I was vice chair of the DNC.
Mr. Mamdani?
Mayor Wu of Boston.
Oh,
Mr.
nice.
Tilson?
My old friend Cory Booker, after his 25-hour Herculean.
Thank you, Mr. Tilson.
It's
Mr.
filibuster
Cuomo?
against nothing.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Mr. Myrie?
Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins.
Ms. Ramos?
Maryland Governor Moore.
Mr. Lander?
Boston Mayor Michelle Wu.
Ms. Adams?
I would have to say the next speaker would be Hakeem Jeffries.
In the primary, voters will be ranking you 1 through 5, number 1 being their top choice for mayor. So we break up the order and start with Mr. Cuomo. Assuming you rank yourself number 1, who on this stage would you rank number 2?
I'd leave it to the voters.
So you would not put a name, or you're not sure?
No, I'd leave it to the voters.
Okay. Mr. Tilson?
I haven't decided on my number 2, but I'm an ABZ. No disrespect, Zoran, but I think his policies are dangerous.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani?
Oh, Whitney,
More of an ABC
I was
guy,
with
anybody
you.
but Cuomo. I'll be telling my voters, however, who to rank number 2 before Election Day.
Okay, no name was yet. Mr. Blake?
I'm going to take the Andrew Cuomo approach and not answer your question.
Mr. Stringer?
Well, you're not supposed to make news at these debates, right? No, just joking. My second choice really will be based on who I think would be the second best mayor on the stage.
Ms. Adams?
I also would rank myself number 1, of course, but we will not be breaking news as far as who my number 2 will be tonight.
All right, Mr. Lander?
Andrew Cuomo has shown you many times tonight why he should not be anywhere on your ballot.
All right.
Ms. Ramos?
Well, I think this debate is really good food for thought and will give us all a better idea. I'm hoping to have a better idea by the end of tonight.
Mr. Myrie?
Stay tuned.
All right.
Okay,
The
useless
last one
fucking
we'll start
question.
with Mr. Stringer again,
Except
going
we know
around.
that Whitney
4 years ago, in the race for mayor,
is
who
no
did you
good.
rank first on your ballot for the Democratic primary?
That was tough. I conferred with my wife, and we said Stringer number 1.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Blake?
Maya Wiley, I co-chaired her campaign, and our city would be much better right now if Maya Wiley was mayor.
Mr. Mamdani?
Maya Wiley.
Mr. Tilson?
Catherine Garcia.
Mr. Cuomo?
I would have done Eric Adams.
Did he live in New York City to
He
even
did not.
vote?
He said he would have done. You said you
I think it was
would have.
about 30 years since
Is
he's
it
lived here, right?
Okay. Mr. Meyer?
Oh,
I ranked Maya
brutal.
first.
Ms. Ramos?
I voted for Maya Wiley.
Mr. Lander?
Maya Wiley 1, Catherine Garcia 2.
Okay, pal,
Ms.
don't
Adams.
say more than
My
you have
biggest
to.
regret was voting for Eric Adams, number 1, with Maya a very close second, Kathy Garcia.
I can't believe
Thank
this
you.
woman
I'm
has
not
brought up
ranking any of
twice
you.
now that she
All right, thank you, Kenneth.
voted for Eric Adams.
Okay,
I
we're going to
mean,
move on to housing. You've all made housing a top priority in your campaigns.
Holy
and
shit.
as you all know, the city is in a housing crisis with a vacancy rate of just 1.4%. We'd like you to explain your proposed solutions to this housing crisis and how you would pay for it. You'll have 1 minute to answer this question. Mr. Tilson, we'll begin with you.
Sure. Well, as I discussed about an hour ago, the key, I think, is to unleash the private sector to build a lot more supply, which wouldn't just stabilize rents. We have the highest rents in the country. We need to bring them down. I think they can come down by 20%. Austin just demonstrated how to do this in only 3 years.
Look, he pissed me off with the Zoran thing, but
zoning restrictions.
God, when he talks about the private
properly
sector,
city departments,
I'm getting
to
bricked up.
streamline that process. And overall, just speed up the process. It's taking 4 years to build, start to finish, and it should take only 2. I will say my plan is basically the opposite of Zoran's. He wants the city to build all new affordable housing, which I think the city has we've seen the city is no good at building and operating housing. He would also saddle us, he proposes, with $70 billion of debt. This would end up looking like California's high-speed rail project. Nothing accomplished.
We're at time. Thank you, Mr. Tilson. Mr. Cuomo, how would you try to resolve the housing crisis, and how would you pay for it?
Yeah, it's a desperate problem. I built housing for the homeless in my 20s. Excuse me. I served as HUD secretary and built housing literally all across the nation, hundreds of thousands of units. We need to blow up HPD. It's an obstacle. The city council is a bottleneck. We have to use faith-based
I'd like to respond to that.
Hell yes.
We need to use vacant city land. I've shown that I know how to build. Look at LaGuardia Airport, look at the Kosciuszko Bridge, look at the 2nd Avenue subway. I know how to get things done. And that's what this election is all about. Not plans.
All right, Adams is about to...
Who can get something done?
Ms. Adams, yes, if you would like to very briefly respond to that since he invoked the city council.
Yes, I would. And the former governor's response really does show how disconnected he is to the work of the city. Unlike myself, who is currently still in city governance, the only person on this stage actually that has experience of city governance and doing the work. The city council, under my leadership right now, has already walked 120,000 units of housing for the people of the city of New York. So the city council is not bottlenecking anything. Maybe perhaps 10, 20 years ago, when you were a governor, that was happening. But under my leadership, we have a brand new culture in the city council where we are actually working for the people to make sure that housing is built, and housing is built now.
Very, very briefly.
Yeah. The mayor has an interesting proposal that I think we're going to see in the Charter Commission that talks about the role of the city council and expediting the approval mechanism.
Okay, Mr. Myrie, your top solution to the housing crisis. You have 1 minute to discuss it.
You know, I grew up in a rent-stabilized apartment. It is a place that my mom, my parents were able to find, the only affordable place they were able to find to raise me to be on this stage right now. But that opportunity has slipped away for too many New Yorkers. My wife and I, we want to put down roots in the same neighborhood that we grew up in. When you walk down Bedford Avenue, everything costs $1 million. Who has $1 million?
Oof.
Maybe some of the people on this stage do, but I don't have it, and I know you watching at home don't have it either. So I've been clear about what my plan is to drive down the cost of housing. 1 million homes over the next 10 years. We can actually do this with some leadership.
Wow.
The leaders of the past,
This
like
rocks.
Cuomo, who had the opportunity to do this, only gave us a city that is more expensive.
Everyone's talking about.
I want to also extend pre-K and 3K from 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. so that we can draw families here and keep them here. And I want universal free after school for every kid in this city, because it has to be a city where you can raise a family and where we can move everyone to a path to success.
And very, very briefly, what is your price tag on those 1 million new homes?
My plan does not require us to raise taxes and reduce the private market in order to build housing, incentivize.
All right, thank you. Ms. Ramos.
Property tax reform is at the crux of our affordable housing crisis in this city. I want to make sure that we
All right, we're going to tune back in a second.
Helping homeowners and landlords bring down their costs. Water rates, the cost of water has skyrocketed.
This feels, since major Democratic donors have made clear they aren't going to bankroll a serious anti-Cuomo effort, the smartest move after tonight's debate, which, let's face it, few voters are actually watching, is for every candidate trailing Mamdani to pool their resources and flood Cuomo's own base with targeted ads showcasing his disastrous performance. At this point, the candidates themselves are the only ones with the resources to drive down Cuomo's favorability among his core voters. Spending money to boost personal name ID won't do anything to defeat Cuomo at this stage. It won't happen. Yeah, I mean, this feels very 2020.
Services that are needed. We need more nurses. nurses, we need more teachers, we need more doctors, we need more police officers and firefighters. So I want to build more low-income rentals and modest equity homeownership opportunities so that every New Yorker can own a piece of our
Thank you, Ms.
city.
Ramos. Mr. Lander.
Everyone on the stage talks about affordable housing. I've spent 3 decades delivering it. Spent 15 years before I ever got into elected office with my sleeves rolled up, renovating abandoned buildings and vacant lots into affordable homes. In the city council, I was the champion for the Gowanus redevelopment, 8,000 new units, 3,000 genuinely affordable. Saved the 35,000 units of Signature Bank rent stabilized housing when they were put at risk by Signature's failure. So I know how to do this. That's the leadership I'll bring to City Hall. I'll declare a housing emergency on day one. I put out a detailed plan for how we can build 500,000 homes over the next 10 years, and I've laid out where, including 50,000 units in great new neighborhoods on 4 of the city's 12 city-owned.
All right, Kev wants to watch a little bit of the debate. He said he's going to try not to bark, but he can't promise anything, okay?
Rental housing. I've also laid out detailed plans for how to fix HPD and NYCHA. I've got the management experience.
Don't bark into the mic.
Thank you. For viewers at home, that's the Housing Department and the New York City Housing Authority.
Thank you.
Ms. Adams, given that you spoke about this before, we're going to give you 30 seconds to continue your answer.
Yes, already doing the work. Don't need a manual or a transcript in order to do it. I'm already doing it currently as we speak. So I've already delivered thousands of affordable units to people of the city of New York. We can take a look at Innovation Queens, the largest privately developed structure that is coming up right now.
Wait, I gotta open the door for him in case he's got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Passed 2 weeks ago, the Atlantic Avenue rezoning. And yes, we can take a look at the City for All, which will create over 80,000 brand new
Thank you, Ms.
affordable
Adams.
units.
We have
for
to
the
move
city
on
of
to
New
Mr.
York.
Stringer.
Doing the work.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer. Can you please talk about your housing plan and how you would pay for it?
Well, first of all, this housing crisis is way too real, and we've confronted housing issues in the past. Mayor stepped up and didn't do the minimum, they did the maximum. They built 2,200 public housing units. The Mitchell-Lama housing program, the greatest integrated housing program in a generation, was also built. Right now, all we do is have luxury developers propose projects that gives us affordable housing. I want to upend this. My plan, take 1,000 vacant lots, build the affordable housing that we need. You give the land to not-for-profits, to community-based organizations, we're in the game. This is not pie in the sky. I can't say to you tonight, given my 30 years of experience, that anyone has a plan to build 1 million homes or 500,000 homes in 10 years. Don't believe it. Believe what we can do in the next 2 years. That's the first step. Lastly, we also have to recognize who can best do this work. As controller, I financed affordable housing all over the city.
Hey.
As borough president, I didn't do 1 or 2 rezonings.
No.
That was my life's work for 8 years. And we
We're at time,
transformed so many
Mr.
parcels
Stringer.
of land into
Mr. Blake,
affordable housing.
we have to move on. Mr. Blake.
Why are you doing that?
When we talk about a housing crisis, you have to actually go through the journey. My mama overcame homelessness. We sold dinners to pay rent in South Bronx. And so this is not about a report from me. This is about reality. So how do we fix the crisis? We need local median income because area median income is not working. We need to end credit scores being utilized for housing applications, and we need to increase the income limits on housing applications, especially to protect all of our New Yorkers. When you think about what's happening in Rochdale Village right now with an unfair tax increase, the protections have to happen at
Kev
Co-op
is
City or
pro-revolution,
Compost
which is
Village,
unfortunate
Tracy's
for me.
House, just
I think he would be on your guys'
But
side.
then we gotta go a step
He's
further.
tired of the
For public housing and those that are living in NYCHA, for those who have
the
not
unfair
helped with
rules
heat
we
and hot
impose on
water,
him.
they need to go to jail because they are not being held
Yeah.
accountable to actually fight for you. And so when we talk about the actual vision of a housing plan, if you go to blakefornyc.com, you will see the welcome home vision because we want to make sure you can afford.
I need to know
the
what
home you
happens in the
deserve.
Mr.
second.
Blake, we're at time. Just a very quick follow-up. Who are you implying should be going to jail?
The individuals that are working at NYCHA that were a part of a bribery scheme that has been
No,
unveiled
Kev is not
and
for
undercover,
Scott Stringer.
where it's
Come
been very
on.
clear that they were
Kev might be
taking
pro-revolution
bribes
in the
We do
chat,
have
but
not
he's
actually fix what's happening in the residence.
he's pro
Okay,
he's
thank
pro
you. Mr.
Zoran.
Ramdani, we'll go to you.
If you are one
Wow.
of the close to 2.5 million New Yorkers who live in rent-stabilized housing, I will freeze your rent. And I will do that because you have a median household income of $60,000 while your landlord profits have increased by 12%.
Okay, Kev might
This
be a
is
little
an
bit of a
act
Whitney
that will
guy
bring
too, but
nearly
he's
$7
writing for
billion
Zoran.
back into your pocket and back into the pockets of our local economy. This is what we will do immediately, and we'll do so because the mayor has the power to. Even though there are those like Andrew Cuomo on this stage who will tell you it's unrealistic, we know the previous mayor actually did this 3 times. And on top of this, we're going to build 200,000 truly affordable homes. Homes that are for the New Yorker who has a median household income of $70,000 for a family of 4. We'll do this while taking on the very bad landlords and the real estate developers who are funding Andrew Cuomo's campaign, $2.5 million last time I checked. And we're going to do that because ultimately every single person needs to follow the law, and that includes the landlords who are violating our housing code and have $800 million in fines that the city have yet to actually collect on.
Very brief response. Very brief response, Mr. Cuomo.
Mr. Mondami is very good at videos, but not reality.
We've already heard that line before.
The Daily News said that his plan to finance his proposals, it violates the constitutional debt cap of the city of New York. It would double the state taxes, and there is no way the state is going to pass a tax statewide.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moore. We have to.
No, he's invoked me. I should be able to respond. Just for 10 seconds.
No, so
just for 10 seconds here.
Brief response.
What the governor is speaking about is when we want to fight for working class people, it's considered unrealistic. But when he wants to give Elon Musk a $1 billion tax break, it's totally feasible. What the Daily News found is that this would mean taking a $30 billion budget, increasing it such that we could actually create truly affordable housing.
All right.
Eat shit, Cuomo.
We have some breaking news we want to ask you about. The Trump administration is threatening the accreditation of Columbia University. In a statement, Secretary of Education Linda McMahon said after Hamas's October 7, 2023 terror attack on Israel, Columbia University's leadership acted with deliberate indifference towards the harassment of Jewish
I don't want to mute
students
this, but the
campus.
videos comment is, I can't.
This is not only
I don't know why
immoral,
Jessica
but also
Ramos is going after
unlawful.
Zoran.
A statement from
It
the Secretary
feels
of Education Linda McMahon. 30 seconds.
insane.
What's your reaction to this move? Mr. Cuomo, we'll begin with you.
I think you have 2 separate issues. Number one, I do believe there's been anti-Semitism in the city. I believe it's a growing problem. And I believe the rhetoric about Israel has actually inflamed the anti-Semitism. Put that aside, I think this is just another overreach of the Trump administration. Now he's going to take over the academic universities in this country. He is literally attacking the foundation of democracy, and he must be opposed at every turn.
Mr. Tilson, your reaction to this, threatening the accreditation of Columbia University.
Yeah, I'm totally appalled by 2 things. First, the failure of Columbia and other elite institutions to adequately act quickly after the October 7th attacks on mobs that were creating.
What
a
are the
very,
odds they're going to
dangerous
go in
environment for
on
Jewish students? My daughter is
whatever
one of them in
Zoran's
college
answer
right
is
now.
about this?
My wife and children are Jewish.
The,
It's personal
the journalists.
to me. But I am
the moderators.
and these mobs, let's be clear, were incited by activists like the Democratic Socialists of America. And their anti-Israel
Mr.
rhetoric.
Tilson,
I am even more appalled, however, by the Trump administration pretending to care about anti-Semitism and
Mr.
threatening
Tilson,
the accreditation of universities.
Mr. Mamdani.
I think this is yet
Here we
another
go.
example of a gross overreach of the Trump administration, one that they have shown they will continue to pursue with whichever university they decide to target. It's been Columbia, it's been Harvard. We need to have a mayor that will actually stand up to Donald Trump, not one that we have right now that will collaborate with them. And that is who I will be, as someone who is, in the words of Shirley Chisholm, unbought and unbossed because the donors who are putting me in second place in this race are working class New Yorkers across this city.
Mr. Blake, 30 seconds.
Okay,
As
I was
a
wrong.
reverend,
I was
let's start
wrong.
From the core, that all
I thought they were
going
gonna try to eat him alive.
On both sides.
Okay.
Let's also be very clear that we have to reject anti-Semitism and also have humanity to what's happening for the Palestinian people at the same time. The overreach is unacceptable in what Trump is doing. Linda McMahon is clearly more focused on wrestling rather than the facts. And it's one of the reasons why I'm running in this race. Because of my federal experience and working for a real President Barack Obama and the State House experience and local experience, we have to make sure that we're not allowing D.C. to have overreach. And when they take these steps, we will withhold sending New York City taxes to D.C.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Mr. Stringer, your reaction.
There's no question that on so many of these college campuses, the anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish hate is very real. And we have to make sure that we hold universities accountable to make sure every student of all different backgrounds are safe. But this Trump move goes against everything that's American. And if he really wants to help Jewish students and all students, because everybody faces discrimination at some point in their lives, that maybe he would fully fund the civil rights divisions. He would not cut programs that could go a long way to fostering the ability for
I
all
do
different
hope
to
people
work
see
together and
through
come
these
together.
answers when
Thank you.
people are
Ms.
like,
Adams, your reaction, the Trump administration says
when people are saying
that the university's
I
leadership
agree
acted
with Trump on
deliberate
all of
indifference
this,
towards the harassment
but
of Jewish
I wouldn't go
students.
that
He's now
far.
targeting or perhaps
I
threatening
hope
their
people are seeing
accreditation.
through
Your
this.
reaction.
You know, all New Yorkers deserve to feel safe no matter who they are. As Speaker, I've allocated over $18 million to combat anti-Semitism in New York City. As mayor, I will continue to combat anti-Semitism within the city of New York. We have got to come against this Trump administration who is now terrorizing our college students, our students across the country. We have to have a mayor who will stand up. I've been that speaker that will stand up. As mayor, I will continue to stand up against Donald Trump. Our students deserve to be in safe spaces on all of our college campuses.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Adams. Mr. Lander. Apologies.
This is a frightening time for Jews, and I feel it really personally after the flame-throwing in Boulder, Colorado, and the 2 murders in Washington, D.C. I go to a lot of Jewish communal events, and you can't just be looking over your shoulder. So I've got a really detailed plan for how we're going to deal with hate crimes and anti-Semitism in New York City. But let's be clear, Donald Trump, he platforms white nationalists and anti-Semites all the time. This has nothing to do with keeping anyone safe and trying to discredit Harvard or Columbia is about destroying higher education and democracy.
Thank you, Mr. Lander.
Won't keep Jews safe.
Ms. Ramos.
Look, McMahon is no educator, and Trump has no interest in funding our education. He is trying to make our education less accessible to students. I do wish Columbia University
Damon's asking if Brad is doing a skit.
the way
I
Harvard
think
has.
he might
We
be.
have to stand up to Trump. We have to be willing to fight back, to sue, and that is exactly what I will do as your mayor to make
I
sure
honestly
that
don't
we are
even know
keeping
much about
our
him,
Jewish
except
students safe,
obviously
our
I've been.
Muslim students
He's
safe,
acting like he's
and
doing
that
a
we are
college
fighting
monologue.
bigotry at every turn. There is
I've
no
just been
room
hearing that
for the
because
skyrocketing
obviously I've been
anti-Semitism
asking
that we are
why
seeing in
the
our
hell
communities,
AOC is
and
not
the xenophobia must end.
Mr.
endorsing Zoran,
There
which
has
is still
been
just
a clear
insane.
and unequivocal rise
And people are
of
saying that
anti-Semitism in this city and
because she
across this
wants
country.
Brad
We have to
Lander,
be just as
and I
clear
just
and
cannot
unequivocal
believe
in
this is the
calling
guy.
it
I mean,
out
I don't
and
know.
rooting it out wherever it rears
But
its ugly
if
head.
that's who
That is
AOC
what I'm
wants to
gonna
throw
do
her
as
lot
mayor.
in
But
with,
come on, this is
good
New
God.
York City. Our Jewish friends and our neighbors, they make our city what it is. Kindergarten through 8th grade, I went to school next to Beit Rivka. That is part of what makes our city great. This is a shameful, unconstitutional overreach by this Trump administration, and it is pattern and practice for what they have done all across our city and country.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to stay in the area of Columbia University with our next question and Sally Goldenberg.
Thank you, David. The case of Mahmoud Khalil, a permanent U.S. resident who helped lead pro-Palestinian protests, drags on in the courts. The Trump administration wants to deport Khalil, accusing him of supporting Hamas, a terrorist group, and making Jewish students feel less safe on campus. They say he's a threat to foreign policy. He was arrested and detained, but has not been formally charged with a crime, and he says he's done nothing wrong. We're looking for a very short answer here, and we'll begin with you,
We're
Mr.
looking for a
Mamdani.
very short-
Do you
oh,
believe that Mr.
Mamdani,
Khalil
up
should be
first.
set free or deported?
He should be set free. He should be at home with his wife, Noor, and their young child. And the fact that he is still in Louisiana is an abomination. It's an attack on our First Amendment. And it is clear, another example of Donald Trump weaponizing the very real issue of anti-Semitism to then throw Palestinian New Yorkers into detention facilities and not even tell us what the crime is that they're charged with.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Telephone.
perfect answer. I'm so curious what other people have to say about
I can't answer
this.
the question without knowing all the facts right
Oh
now.
my
It
God.
certainly looks like another case.
Oh my
Stop,
God.
stop, let me finish. It looks like another
Kill
case
him.
of Trump
This is
administration
insane.
overreach. They need to prove their case
Whitney,
and show
you're
that
breaking
he has
my
ties
heart.
to terrorism that would justify via
I
due
thought the hedge
process,
fund guy was gonna be
revoking
good.
his green card and deporting him. I don't think the Trump administration will be able to do that, and therefore he should be set free. But they need to make their case.
Thank you, Mr. Cuomo.
This is a continuation of Trump eroding democracy, chipping away at due process. He should be released. He should be released immediately. He shouldn't have been detained in the first place.
Wow, Cuomo.
Mr. Myrie.
He should be immediately
Strong from
set free.
Cuomo.
Ms. Ramos.
We have due process in our Constitution for every person. Mahmoud Khalil is no exception.
Oof.
He belongs home
Whitney's
with
looking
his
at the
family,
ground like,
just like
"Ooh,
Andrea
maybe I should have just
Hernandez
went for
and
it."
so many others who have been unlawfully abducted by ICE.
Mr. Lander.
Mahmoud Khalil should be at home with his family, and so should Dillard Contreras, a New York City public high school student that ICE tricked and then arrested and is trying to deport. We've got to stand up, make sure folks have legal services, and the New York.
He seems like he's being sarcastic.
Yes, Mahmoud Khalil should be.
I don't know what his
Khalil should be released immediately. There is no due process in Donald Trump's America, and that is why we all have to pull together and fight this chaotic Trump administration. It cannot be allowed to harm more families, to harm more individuals that have committed no crime. This should be unacceptable to every American and everyone that lives in this country.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer.
As a Jewish American whose wife works at the Jewish Museum in Lower Manhattan,
Yes or
fighting the
no?
Holocaust,
Should he-
fighting to make sure we remember the Holocaust, I will say unequivocally that taking this man off the streets and others off the streets without any charges or any rationale is a direct horrifying moment for our Constitution. Donald Trump should be ashamed of himself for doing this.
Mr. Blake?
Mahmoud should be home with his family, full stop. It's really
Thank
that easy,
you.
Whitney. Extended on this is the appreciation and understanding that whether it be Dylan from the Bronx or any of our communities, we should not believe that a convicted felon president is actually going to ever honor the Constitution. It's the reason why we have to make sure we protect our immigrants and have more lawyers at our immigration hearings, because we should actually know where individuals are so they have a chance to fight for their own justice.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you. We're moving on to a subject that none of you are discussing much on the campaign trail, but it could reshape the city in the next few years, and that is the rapid advance of artificial intelligence.
Oh my God.
It could improve many things in the city, but it could also eliminate thousands of jobs. So the next mayor will likely have some opportunities to replace some city workers with AI technology and in the process save hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars. AI will certainly be on the table when city labor contracts expire. So here's the question. Is there an area where you would consider replacing city workers with AI?
Oh my God, I
if it saves
cannot
tax
believe they're
dollars?
asking this
And
question.
would you also offer any protections to city workers? You'll have 30 seconds to answer. We'll begin with you, Mr. Mamdani.
Well, I think Andrew Cuomo would tell you that he's already replaced a campaign worker who would have written his housing policy with AI because he had it written by ChatGPT. I can tell you that I'm proud to be endorsed by the labor union representing the largest number of city workers, DC 37. And I'm proud of that because my approach to artificial intelligence will be one where we can find efficiencies in the contracts and consultants that we work with as a city, but we are not going to use this language of artificial intelligence as a justification for further layoffs of city workers.
Okay, Mr. Mamdani, time. Thank you.
Hell yeah,
Mr.
brother.
Tilson?
Yeah, I think actually AI is going to be a home run for this city because we are second only to
Whitney.
Silicon Valley, the sort of
We
tech
love you,
hub,
pal.
the East Coast tech hub for a lot of these West Coast companies. So whatever we might lose in some jobs, I think we're going to gain if we're smart, if we roll out the carpet, because we have the knowledge workers here to attract these entrepreneurial businesses. But we've got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot with left-wing madness, like driving away Amazon and the 40,000 jobs that they wanted to bring here. And lastly, I'll say we can use AI to bring a lot of permitting by the city online to
Thank you, Mr. Tilson. Mr. Cuomo, you have 30 seconds.
Cuomo, hit us.
Yeah, I am the candidate on the stage who's endorsed by more labor unions than anyone else, over 650,000 working men and women, and I'm proud of it. AI is undeniable. It's coming. There's I think, a tremendous opportunity for economic development here in New York by bringing AI to New York and bringing those businesses here. The West Coast doesn't have a franchise. You hear a lot of four-letter words here. You hear free, you hear taxes. You don't hear jobs.
Four-letter
We need
words,
opportunities,
taxes?
we need jobs.
That's
And
5
we
letters,
want to
my guy.
reorganize
We're gonna move on,
government.
Mr.
AI can help, but we want to protect jobs.
Mr. Myrie, you have 30 seconds. Thank
Is
you.
no one
I'm
gonna
the proud son of a city worker. My dad
ask
taught
Cuomo if he
special
knows how to spell
education in
taxes?
the Bronx for 22 years. I would not be who I am today without it, without what he fought for and what he did for students every day. I believe we have so many city workers that are doing their absolute best to serve this city. We actually have thousands of vacancies in our city workforce now. So I want to hire more city workers to get them to do it. Of course, AI is going to have a role to play going forward. We have to all play a role in ensuring that this is an industry that grows in our city. One way we're going to make us attractive
Thank you,
is
Mr.
1
Myrie.
million homes over the next 10 years.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos.
I wrote the law to protect our artists, our actors, image and likeness from AI's use through movie studios. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to put the power in our workers' hands to help us lead the transition into the use of artificial intelligence. We can't be Luddites, but we do have to make sure that the workers have a say as we make those transitions, especially when I want to transition them and repurpose them for mental health capacities where we have deep shortages.
Mr. Lander?
3 strategies I've proposed to use AI and
Oh my God,
technology to
my
make
guy's back.
government more efficient that won't cost any jobs but will save us money. Last year, we paid out over $2 billion to settle 12,000 claims. I have an RFP in the field to use machine learning and AI to find patterns, put it on the books of the agencies that cause it so we can actually reduce that. Second, we should have NYCHA vendor scorecards that enable residents to rate the repair vendors that come into their units. We're not doing that right now. We could make much better use of our taxpayer dollars.
Thank you,
by
Mr.
going with
Lander.
Brad
vendors
Lander,
who actually
stop
get the work
it.
done.
Thank you.
And
Ms.
third-
No,
Adams,
you're not
up.
doing the third one.
Oh.
We're done with
I
you,
got the
pal.
15 seconds.
Sorry, mixed signals.
Okay. I got one more idea for the next time.
I bet you do,
Okay,
Brad.
I'm sorry about
You
that.
freak.
Ms. Adams?
You know, I'm not a career politician. I come out of the world of corporate America, so I know the benefit of technology.
good.
I actually used to teach tech,
She seems to
in another
misunderstand
life,
what
so
people
I know
find,
the benefits of AI. I think it's something that we
appealing.
need to embrace as New Yorkers. I think that it's something that can bring a lot of profits into New York City. That said, we should not balance AI along with the release of our workers that can do such a great job and are doing such a great job for our city. There is a balance here. As mayor, I will reckon that balance and reconcile that balance so that we do not lose.
Thank you,
but
Ms.
that we are
Adams.
training our workforce towards embracing AI.
Thank you, Mr. Stringer.
Look, I think AI is a great opportunity for the New York City economy, and we should embrace it. But we also have to know that with any new technology comes the job of the mayor to protect our workers and our citizens. And I don't think it's an either-or question. I think AI can come in and actually have a benefit to the city workforce. Imagine training new kids at CUNY and places to get into the tech economy. This is one vehicle to do it. Obviously, as mayor, you have to worry about the abuses. I will do that. My record as a pro-labor elected official, borough president, controller is without question, and I believe we can manage this.
Okay. Mr. Blake, I'm sorry, I jumped that. Mr. Blake, you have the final word? That was my mistake.
Our campaign theme is Tomorrow Begins Today, and that's the epitome of when we talk about for AI. As a small business owner, in which I've managed more than 15,000 people across the country.
I need to know
over
when the
years,
second debate
it's
is.
the appreciation of groups such as Adventure
Okay,
or
second
National Gem Consortium and on the Knowledge
June
House.
12th.
So we can be very intentional how AI can be utilized for good. I would say also
Ooh,
specifically, we
all
need
right.
technology.
This is where
for
it's all
good.
gonna happen,
You
huh?
can track a flight or food, but you cannot track closing a residential repair.
Oof,
in your
Ramos and
home.
Blake
So we have to
out
find better
already.
ways. And to your last part of your question, you can do that and equally create jobs while reducing regulation and red tape at the same time.
Candidates, thank you. We have a few short questions, lightning round questions, some call them, just to get a glimpse of your thinking on some of the issues that are relevant to New Yorkers. So New Yorkers are feeling stressed about housing in the city, as you've all alluded to, as we know. How much do you pay each month for rent or a mortgage? We'll go
Oh
with
my
right,
God,
Ms. Adams?
beautiful.
Our home is paid. I'm a homeowner.
Okay. Mr. Lander.
We have a mortgage, a home with
This is
one rental
an
unit.
insane
the total
question.
mortgage on the house, $3,300.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ramos?
We pay $2,500 a month.
Okay.
I,
Mr. Myrie?
Rent stabilized apartment I grew up in, $1,300.
I'm obsessed with this.
7,800.
Mr. Tilson?
7,800?
I own and pay about $5,000 a month in maintenance and taxes.
Mr. Mamdani?
$2,300 for my one bedroom in Astoria.
Mr. Blake?
About $1,800 for the home that I own with our family.
Okay. Mr. Stringer?
I'm getting ripped off $6,400 a month.
Property tax reform.
Come on, Comptroller.
I can do it.
All right, thank you. Helicopter traffic around Manhattan is a constant
Okay, I
debate.
want more,
It's a complaint from
personal
many.
questions,
Should
like how much
helicopter
rent they're
traffic be
paying.
limited? We'll go right to left. Mr. Stringer?
Yes.
Mr. Blake?
Absolutely.
Mr. Mamdani?
Yes, we should ban all non-essential helicopter travel.
Mr. Tilson?
Yes, I agree.
Mr. Cuomo?
It should be limited, yes, sir.
Especially out of Westchester.
Mr. Myrie?
Yes, and I've co-sponsored legislation in the state to that effect.
Okay. Ms. Ramos?
Stop the chop.
Mr. Lander?
Yes.
Okay.
Honestly,
Ms.
even when he
Adams?
gives one-word answers, Brad Lander is driving me nuts.
Okay. The first foreign visit by a mayor of New York is always considered significant. Where would you go first? Left to right, Ms. Adams.
First visit, I would visit the Holy Land.
Okay. Mr. Lander, sorry.
Boy, what Trump is doing to Canada, there's a lot of opportunities for us to partner better with them.
Ms. Ramos.
I'd love to meet Claudia Sheinbaum, but I'd probably head to Colombia, to my parents' homeland.
Mr. Myrie?
I am the proud son of 2 Caribbean immigrants. I represent a robust Caribbean constituency. I'd like to go to the Caribbean as my first visit.
Mr. Cuomo?
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
That's 2.
Mr.
That's
Tilson,
2.
where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my 4th trip to Israel, followed by my 5th
That's
trip to Ukraine, 2 of our greatest allies fighting on the front lines of the global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are
I mean,
to address New
what an
Yorkers
incredible
across the 5
answer.
boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel
No,
as mayor?
I've said in a UJA questionnaire that I believe that you need not travel to Israel to stand up for Jewish New Yorkers. And that is what I will be doing as the mayor. I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes.
Is it so weird
Because
that
ultimately, we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And
as
just
we've
yes or
seen,
no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
What is happening?
As a Jewish state?
As a state with
He's
equal
running
rights.
for New York City mayor.
He
Not
won't
as a
say it
Jewish
has a
state.
right to exist as a Jewish state. Be very
And
clear.
his answer was no, he won't visit Israel.
I said that very
That's what he was
clearly.
trying to say.
No. Unlike
No,
you, I
you
answer.
never-
Unlike
you
you, I
never
answer
said
questions
no.
very
Okay.
directly.
All right, I
and
think
I
we're
want to
clear.
be
You
very
answered-
clear. I
you
believe
answered-
every state should be a state of equal rights.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Blake, where would you go on your first foreign visit as mayor of New York?
My full name is Michael Alexander Blake. I'm named after Michael Manley Alexander Bustamante. So, of course, I'm going to go to Jamaica to mash up the place, my fellow patois Jamaicans out here.
Okay, that rocks.
Mr. Stringer?
That was a nice
I'll go with you.
palate cleanser.
It'd be a great trip.
It would be a great trip.
All right, I'm sorry.
My goal would be to take my first trip to Israel. My wife's life work in this area means a lot to our family, and it could coincide with my young son Miles' bar mitzvah, if you'd like to have his bar mitzvah.
Okay, about a minute left. What's your favorite go-to pizza spot? What's your order? Mr. Cuomo, we'll start with you.
Gabby's in Queens.
Mr. Myrie.
Gino's Pizza, Flatbush Ave.
I cannot believe
Louise
they
on Baxter Avenue in Elmhurst.
Mr. Lander.
They
As
took
far as in Midwood.
they took
Ms.
issue
Adams.
with him
Alba,
saying he was
Queens
going to stay
Boulevard.
in New York.
Mr. Stringer.
They just could not let
Kid's
that go.
choice,
I'm going to
Joe's.
stay in New York and help New
Blake?
Yorkers.
Vinny's, Grand Concourse, Burnside.
Mr. Mamdani.
I grew up in Morningside Heights, so I have to say Cornets.
Okay. And Mr.
Danino's
Tilson.
in Staten Island.
Okay. All right. And real quickly, this will be thumbs up, thumbs down. Maybe your reaction.
Ooh,
We already
Whitney
heard this
went
from
with the
one,
place in
to the
Staten
Knicks
Island.
firing their head coach, Tom Thibodeau. Miss Adams. Thumbs down. Thumbs down.
All
Thumbs
right.
down.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Our goal is to win the finals.
Okay.
It's not to get to the
Thank you
conference
all.
finals.
Thank you all for a spirited debate. That's all the time we have. Again, we thank the candidates for an informative evening tonight. We also thank the New York City Campaign Finance Board. Urge you to check out their website, nycvotes.org. It has information on the candidates in every race, and importantly, you'll learn more about ranked choice voting, which is how the nominees for mayor will be selected. For all of us here at NBC New York, at Telemundo 47 and Politico, go vote.
Oh, of course he's shaking hands with Whitney. Who else is he shaking hands with? Who else is Cuomo shaking hands with? Oh, they cut out. They cut out. Zoran was walking over to Cuomo. Ridiculous. That was a thrill. I hope my channel is still standing after this. We'll see. We shall see. But that was very fun. I'm so curious what what people are saying. Man, I cannot believe they ended like that. Just, you better pledge your allegiance to Israel if you want to be the mayor of New York, I guess. Christ. Wow, there's all right. There's some stands out for everybody here. We got the Stringer Clan, Adrian coming out. Who's this? Cuomo, get the hell out of here. All right, we got the Zoran heads. Oh boy, I can't get over those questions to Mamdani. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say I'm shocked because obviously that's the way it's going to go. But it's always going to piss me off. Came into this debate thinking that if Cuomo was getting attacked the whole night, it would be good for him, but not thinking that at this point, 20 minutes in. Dude, I don't think it could have gone better. Cuomo looked like shit. What is this in response to? Oh. Got you. Everyone's doing the we need to make crime legal again. That was a really beautiful moment. Whitney, thank you for coming into our lives. Whitney Tilson, we hardly knew you. I mean, I have to agree. Overall, keeping them on time, keeping them answering questions. I'm locked in. Where's the AOC endorsement? Where is the AOC endorsement? I just don't get what the hell she is doing at this point. Oh boy. All right, guys. I'm probably gonna go throw the ball for the Kev man. This is an absolute pleasure to watch the debate. We'll see. I don't know what I'm doing on the 12th. Maybe we'll see if we can squeeze in a second debate, because that one's going to be I bet a little bit more spirited with less people in it. So we'll see how that goes. But I'll post about it on Instagram or whatever if I'm gonna plan it. But hopefully, yeah, we'll just keep doing this. Thanks again. Peace out to all my New York City mayoral candidates. Bye.